the tape. We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face. Grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape. Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
The tape.
UGA game day, boy, we ball out. Pull up, put the whole conference in the doghouse. Leave them 6 feet, see me on the win streak. All-star status, go coach, and the bench deep. Right. Offense on 10, how we run it? Your best ain't nothing, we gon' send them boys punting. Yep. Black and red, got them dead on arrival. Defense hunkered down for the tie. Hey, you don't want it with the dogs. Film guy on it, you don't want it with my dog. Break it down, play by play, that's the day-to-day. They know we ain't come to play, boy, it's UGA. Kirby Smart, I cannot play the fool. Back to back, we did not come to lose. Back to back, like we got something to prove. Pay your dues, dog nation on the move. What's up?
We do a little bit different around here.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
The tape. The tape.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face.
Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Shut up and grind the tape.
Shut up. Let's grind.
We ain't gonna play. We ain't gonna play. Them dogs in your face. Shut up and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape. The
Shut up
tape.
and grind.
Let's grind.
Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape.
The tape.
Shut up and grind. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro. Grind the tape, bro.
Shut up. The tape.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You like that? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in to the Film Guy Network on a fabulous Monday afternoon. Here inside the studio, we got yet another loaded show for you guys tonight as we have our Week 5 takeaways from the boys, mostly. All right, I gave you my Sunday reaction show yesterday. If you haven't watched it, maybe after tonight, go back and watch it. It was really, really good stuff. We got our Week 6 previews tonight. Paul Feinbaum running for Senate?
Might be.
Maybe. We might talk about it tonight. Too much. Maybe too much on the slate to even get to Paul's Senate race. Would you vote for Paul? We'll talk about it tonight.
I don't live in the state.
Hey, that was a tease. We'll talk about it tonight.
Right.
Much more. Hit that thumbs up button, but let's get to work. Hey, boys, Sammy the Pit Boss fired yesterday. Like about 15 minutes after I made a joke about how you could buy so many chicken nuggets with that extra amount of buyout costs that they were going to save themselves when he inevitably followed under 500 over the next 3 weeks. But they fired him almost immediately after the show. Bobby Petrino named the interim football coach. And boys, he went through a murdering spree today. He walked through the office and was like, you're out of here. You're out of here. You're out of here. What's your name? You're out of here too. Fired the whole crew, basically, including the defensive coordinator, Travis Robinson, or Travis. The rapping coach. I always know him as the guy who was rapping at Auburn. That dude's got bars. Future career for him no matter what. But anyways, fired the defensive coordinator who we had some conversations with a certain football coach the other day, and you overheard it, and they're like, uh-oh, Arkansas is pretty poorly coached on the defensive side of the football. I think that's why he ultimately walked him to the plank. But it's a little early to be walking guys already as an interim football coach, but he did so. My question to you guys today how good is this job? How good is this job at Arkansas? And fans of Arkansas will say, guys, we got tons of money. We got the Walmart family with the Walton family. We got Tyson Chicken. We got all kinds of money up here at Arkansas. And my question is, if they have so much money at Arkansas, why is the athletic director always telling me that all they can spend on is basketball and baseball and that the football budget is at the bottom of the conference? So that's first and foremost would be a question that I have. The other question that I would have is, if y'all have money stowed away just waiting on the perfect football coach, why didn't Sam Pittman get access to this bread that y'all so apparently have? Sam Pittman won 9 football games, which makes him the best football coach in 2 decades at Arkansas, not named Bobby Petrino. So what are y'all doing? If that guy can't get the money that apparently y'all have stowed away for the right coach, who apparently is Rhett Lashley because he played there, even though SMU's a better job, and we'll talk about that in a second. If y'all have the money, why didn't the 9-game winner get the money? Yeah. Anybody got an answer for that question? That's my number one question for this football program. And honestly, the last soundbite that I heard from this football organization and their athletic director is, we only are going to be spending money on baseball and basketball because we can win there. Thoughts?
Look, I mean, I believe I said this when this happened, of decisions were made when John Calipari was hired as the head basketball coach thereof. Not only do you really want to compete in baseball there, but as soon as you bring Calipari into that basketball program, you made a decision that you are going to put funds into the basketball program. So now we're talking about a program that wants to really compete in baseball, really wants to compete in basketball. I mean, you have to make cuts somewhere. Not that Arkansas is just like poor by any means, but considering what their conference opponents are at, they are. So that certainly plays a role in why you get the product that you have over the years at Arkansas. I mean, I think that plays in the reason of why didn't Sam Pittman get the money? Well, it's because you made assertions elsewhere that, hey, this is where our money's going to go because this is what we're promising there.
Yeah, I think it's not just that. The 9 games thing with Sam Pittman also goes back to, yes, they won 9 games that year, but it was also very clear that they are, I don't want to say second-rate citizens in the SEC, but they're not on the tiers that the Georgias and the Alabamas are and all these other top program teams. We saw that when they went to Athens in 2021. They got absolutely shilled. So I think that Arkansas has kind of accepted, hey, we're fine being a decent to pretty good football team. That's going to be our standard, and we're going to be competitive in baseball and basketball and all these other sports where we're going to spend the money. So that's probably why. With
that fact, guys, how good of a job is this? Like I said, like they're thinking that they're going to get Rhett Lashley, and their tie to Rhett Lashley is that he played there, obviously, and that the boosters really, really like him. But I think odds are, if Bobby Petrino has any type of success here,
oh yeah,
that joker go talk his way into that job.
I think Bobby Petrino is the next head coach of Arkansas.
I think this was a coup from jump. I think this was a coup from Bobby Petrino to run Sammy the Pit Boss up out of his job. Leave Texas A&M politely. They ask you to leave after they fired Jimbo. And you're like sitting around, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go run Sammy the Pit Boss up out of his job out there at Arkansas.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's certainly what it looks like. I mean, when you have a guy making staff changes as rapidly as he did, it certainly feels like that guy, felt like he was going to be in a position to make changes and had already decided who he was going to be making changes to. So it certainly seems like Petrino knew and felt like he was going to be put in that position.
I got a PR idea for old Bobby. How about this? You remember that? You're an NFL guy, Jonathan.
Mm-hmm.
Will you turn that light on for me? You're an NFL guy, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Remember that time Greg Williams got like suspended for, I think, 2 or 3 years for old Bounty Gate?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'll pay you a couple grand to go out there and take out Brett Favre.
Yeah.
You remember old Greg Williams down there in New Orleans?
Yeah.
Greg Williams showed up about 18 months later on the NFL sideline as a defensive coordinator with a brand new goatee and some hair dye. And it's like nobody remembered him. Wearing a hat real pulled down with a goatee, changed his whole image. And now he's on Hard Knocks saying all kinds of stuff. And people love him. Now Greg Williams is like big time defensive coordinator. Revamped his whole image with a goatee and some hair dye. Bobby needed to change his name to Robert. Make everybody call you Robert, and it might professionalize you just a little bit. Maybe they'll forget about you lying to the administration about sleeping with your assistant. How about it?
Yeah, or you could just start winning games as the interim.
Or that. But have you seen that schedule?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who they going to nab? You know? At this rate. Who they going to get?
They could do somebody. I mean, we've seen basically every week now where the margins are thinner than ever in the SEC. So it's possible they could get someone. They've got a talented roster. They've got one of the better quarterbacks in the conference.
John Gruden?
Could be.
John Gruden. Hey, Dave Portnoy, you got to talk to your media buddies because this is classic Gruden. Gruden going to run up a check on you just like he did Monday Night Football for 10 years because a Southeastern job opened up and he's available and has said he wants a job. Watch out.
Yeah, all Gruden had to do is stand up in front of Georgia's football team and give a speech, and people are like, a
speech that he's given 19 times, by the way.
That dude's getting back into coaching for sure.
Over, under 19? Probably over.
Oh, way over.
The dreams and nightmares?
The nightmare. The first time I heard it was on Hard Knocks. And I was like,
that was pre-COVID.
Yeah, that was like 20. It was like
Knock on wood if you're with me.
It was like 2016.
But I guess kind of wrapping up the Arkansas discussion, it's not one of the best jobs in the SEC.
Top 5 jobs available. Number 1, Florida.
It's not available yet.
Yeah, it will be. Number 2, Arkansas. Number 3, Oklahoma State. Number 4, Vatech. Number 5, Lee County. Number 75, UCLA.
Damn.
Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, rate, review. Let's move on to your week 5 reactions. Boys, I obviously had Sunday reaction shows. I want you guys' thoughts on this Alabama-Georgia game. Obviously, we will hammer this sucker from a local perspective in the local hour. Give me your thoughts on this win, particularly from the Alabama side.
Yeah, first off, this was probably the signature win for Kalen DeBoer in Alabama thus far into this season. I know he's only a year and a half into his tenure, but they did all the things that really no one thought they could do, including me. They had only 4 penalties in this game, which was insanity. And it's not like it wasn't because Georgia wasn't a loud environment, it wasn't raucous. They were just that well buttoned up. They only had 1 false start, and you could even argue that that wasn't necessarily because of the crowd noise. Like, they were a very professional operation in that.
Yeah, they were motioning a 365-pound tackle at the time, and the left guard kind of twitched just a little bit. Probably felt the ground beneath him rattle just a tad.
Yeah, girthquake.
No, girthquake. And there was a girthquake this weekend. There's no doubt.
Yeah, but I don't think even they thought they'd be that efficient on third down. So they absolutely have earned every right to, talk the trash and do everything on social media that they're doing right now because they played that incredible of a game. And by the way, shout out to the refs for letting these two teams play.
Swallowed the whistle.
I know it's a tradition of when you lose a football game, you go back and post screenshots of, oh, this wasn't a holding, but I felt like it was a very, very well called game.
I thought it was poetic that when they were backed up in their own end in the fourth quarter, we were watching on film Alabama's offensive breakdown. I mean, left guard gets away with a tackle of C.J. Allen, and then 2 plays later, Ellis Robinson's like a second and a half early on a Ryan Williams play, and they swallowed the whistle on both plays.
Yeah, so I mean, they were letting them play. It was very evident in that, so props to them for that.
Yeah, I think that Alabama certainly has something figured out when it comes to first half against Georgia, at least under Kalen DeBoer. Those have been the biggest, that's been the deciding factor in both of these games is that Alabama started off hot in the first half and Georgia didn't, and they fell behind quickly, and so for the entire rest of the game, they're playing catch-up. I think Alabama's offensive passing attack was about as clean as you could have asked it to be, and if you play like that, if Ty Simpson continues to play like that for the rest of the year, they're going to be a really, really tough team to beat in this conference. But with that said, still some major concerns in the run game and stopping the run. And in this conference, that'll get you into some trouble for sure. Yeah,
I'll say this. Alabama, I have not changed my opinion on Alabama from when the season started. And then the opinion is for people who haven't watched the show recently, they are one of the most talented teams in college football. There's not a team that they cannot beat in any place. They could beat Ohio State in the horseshoe. They could beat Michigan in the big house, Penn State in a whiteout, even though it's not that hard to do. They can beat anyone, anywhere. They're also, from what I've seen, and we've even seen it bleed into this year, there's coaching inefficiencies in certain areas. There's disciplinary issues that would make me worry that they can also lose to anyone. They show that they cleared those up against Georgia. That's for sure. And if they play like that for 8 games, they are going to be 11-1 when they go to the SEC championship. But if you do that for 5 games and the next 3 are kind of, we'll kind of roll it out there and see what happens, you might go 9-3 again. It's fully on the table.
Couple rebuttals here. You mentioned their running inefficiencies. They can't run the football. There's no doubt about that. They cannot. But Saturday night, they were on the field enough. They converted enough third downs that eventually it spit. They threw enough at Georgia running the ball attempts-wise that they got to 130 yards rushing. But what I was going to push back on that is that it didn't matter in that football game because the second down play calling from Ryan Grubb was insane.
Yeah.
The screening of this football team is insane.
Yeah, that was another place I want to give them credit. The screen game that they utilized was great.
Their run inefficiencies are true. They're real. There's no doubt about it. And when they become stagnant offensively, it's because they get into inefficient downs and they get off the field. Like, there's no doubt about that. But they have made up for some of that with some of their play calling. So I do want to say that. Also, it doesn't really matter if you can't run the football if you're a chunk play machine. And when they are, that's what they are. And throwing the football wise, they have the ability to absolutely gut you through the air. So it doesn't really matter. I got it on my notes. Ty +2, +1, +5 equals explosives no matter what. And yes, they have a problem stopping the run and running the football. In this conference, that normally means you have an issue. Like, you're going to lose football games that you can't explain why you lost them. That being said, I think Kane Womack is learning lessons on the fly. At least defensively, play calling wise, guys. We finally got the opportunity to watch the tape over the last 24 hours. I don't recall a single man-to-man call. Like, there might have been, but my biggest criticism of this guy has been, dude, you're way too complicated. Just play zone coverage, rush 4, and get the hell up off the field. That's what he did all night. And that's what caused problems for Georgia. So you have to look at it and say, that guy is growing. He is at least improving or learning lessons or watching the show, one or the other. I'm just kidding. He's probably not watching, but he's definitely learning.
Well, I think the good news for Alabama is your next two matchups, you're going to face the two leading teams in rushing in the conference. You're going to play Vanderbilt and you're going to play Missouri. So I think if you can get through those two games, then it might not even matter. The fact that you can't stop the run on defense and that you can't run the ball, if you can get through those two games, it may not even matter about that. So I think that there's some certainty in that, and you'll learn a lot more about your football team. But you certainly have a lot of momentum rolling in.
Yeah, I mean, more momentum than ever. Like, everyone wrote them off after week one, and kind of they're back in the national title scene promptly now. So credit to them and credit to Kalen DeBoer.
We good on that one?
Yep.
From the Alabama side. All right, let's move on to Penn State dropping another one. Another top 10 opponent at home. What is the whiteout record? Do we know? Do we have numbers on it?
It's losing. I think it's
a losing record?
It's not great.
Did they have to hey, how come they get to do that but y'all can't blackout? Because of voodoo. They out here taking fat L's in them whites. So what's up with that?
It's a Georgia fan base thing.
Okay, we can move on. So they drop a heartbreaker in overtime. Thoughts? I had a big time rundown on Sunday, and I got some thoughts additionally here that I got to make sure I get to. I really wish I could show you the all 22, but the Big Ten has just said no. Y'all are not allowed to do that. If you do that, I will take away your livelihood.
Outside of the obvious, where this was another, James Franklin, Drew Aller, Penn State blunder, my takeaway is that Penn State's not going to win a single game this season if they don't lead the rushing categories. Because Oregon outrushed them in this game, and the game once again got put into Drew Aller's lap. Now, he made some really big plays, some really big fourth down conversions in that game to keep the momentum going. But if Katron Allen and Nick Singleton cannot carry that offense to 150 rushing yards or 200 rushing yards need be, I don't think they're able to win these close games if you have one with an Indiana or an Ohio State.
Enjoy my commentary, Penn State, because as I said last week, this will be the last time I talk about you. Because Drew Aller, yet again, just didn't show up in a massive game. Now, he had some big plays. He made some big throws, but ultimately, he was not the first-round caliber quarterback that a lot of people like to paint this guy as. And it was an interception and an overtime drive where you absolutely had to score.
Bro,
and what do you know? This
is the craziest thing about this to me. People were high on Drew Aller. Off what? Y'all out here getting high off some straight mid performances every single time against anybody worth of salt. And y'all out here higher than anything, higher than a giraffe's ass on nothing. What? How? What are y'all doing? I don't get it.
And here's the thing. This is why I know I don't have to talk about Penn State anymore, is because I feel like I know exactly how these games are going to go, and it went exactly how I thought it would. I said that your running backs are going to have to be a difference maker, and they were. Katron Allen and Nick Singleton played well in this game, but I also said it ultimately won't matter, though, if Drew Aller does not show up in this game, and Drew Aller did not show up in this game, and you still lost. That's how these games go, in my opinion.
Y'all ever play that prank on your buddies, when you're young, high school age, maybe first year of college? You act like you gave your buddy a drink, In reality, it's just regular Hawaiian punch. Buddy over there just acting like he's hammered. Yeah. Those are people acting like Drew Aller was a first-round pick. Y'all out here acting y'all just hammered off some regular high C punch. Crazy, dude. Crazy.
But no, my other takeaway from this game is written on the board there. It's Dante Moore is the Heisman frontrunner.
Yeah.
So
Ty Simpson had an incredible game. Ty Simpson shredded Georgia. The plays Dante Moore was making in that game were Heisman worthy. And by the way, he's got the record head-to-head right now. So
I thought the craziest part of that football game and craziest part about watching Oregon every year, and sometimes it does come back to bite them, is their fourth down strategy is lunacy. If the ball is in between the 35s, and it's gotten to a point now where they call the game knowing that they're going for it on fourth. So on 3rd and 8, they'll call a quarterback draw. And they don't care if they're getting 4th and 2 on their own 37. They breathe that. That's what they're ready for. So basically, every time they get the ball after their first down, you're playing 4 downs. That's what you are.
Yeah,
until they get the ball inside the 25. And then they maybe kick a field goal, but most of the time they're not. They're going for it. So it creates such a pressure on you defensively, man.
Dan Lanning is the Dan Campbell of college football.
That's a great take.
Yeah.
I mean, just the insanity, the grit, the mentality of it. Hey, I don't really care that it's 4th down. We're still going to go for it. Like, that is Dan Lanning.
I mean, watching the game back, it felt like every other play was one of these teams is going for it on 4th down and converting. They weren't getting stopped. I mean, both teams just kept it pushing every single time, it seemed like.
The other theme of this game is that, and I said it on Sunday, that is the most physical, hard-hitting college football game I've seen in 15, 20 years. You talking about swallowing the whistle. There were multiple hits in that game where in the Sunday game that's much more physical, that doesn't have targeting, they're going to tell you, buddy, you going to get a fine in the mail this week. You tried to kill that kid.
For sure. Yeah, no, the one non-targeting call was like, oh my God. It was like it was like watching a game from like 2005
Dude,
again.
24 had like 7 of those hits.
Yeah.
That dude was sticking. Again, wish I could show you. Nope. By the way, I'm well past the days of sitting in here at 3 o'clock in the morning recording TV copies. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. I'm not spending 3 hours prepping for a 30-minute film study. Sorry. I just won't do it. And I don't want to demean the product with TV copy. I don't think that's fair.
No, there's no need.
Yeah.
But I wish I could show you, because you guys are right. The throws Dante Moore made in that football game are bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Hey, it's great to know that Oregon's a playoff team.
It's already stamped.
Already?
Stamped right there. Bang. Stamped. They got through Penn State. They get a bye week, lick their wounds if they have any, and then they get to welcome Indiana at home. And then after that, nothing. Yeah, it'd be favored by 14, 17 points. Hope they don't, get caught sleeping in the middle of the week. And friend of the show, I guarantee he might be listening. Dan, I'm sorry. It is what it is. It has nothing to do with the Big Ten and its supremacy at the top. Y'all got great football teams in that top six. It's just the fact that there's 18 teams and about 8 or 9 of them ain't worth the salt. And the odds in that conference that you draw one of these types of schedules happens every so often. It just so happens, like I said on Sunday, y'all got Indiana's 2024 schedule with Texas's budget and talent. And that's great. You're a playoff team in October. That's great. That's good for you. All your job is to dominate and beat the hell out of whatever's in front of you. And I feel confident that you're about to do that.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's the utmost compliment to Oregon that they should run the table. And if they don't, one loss isn't going to damn them. So they will be fine in this. They should be a playoff team. It would be shocking if they weren't.
Absolutely.
James Franklin, biggest loss to date. What's James Franklin's biggest, most gut-wrenching loss in that program history?
I don't know. I mean, there's been...
I don't know enough Penn State football.
But it's not even that. There's been...
Is there a Nittany Lion in the chat, or did he disappear for the week?
There's been a handful enough of them to where it's like you can't really even point to one and be like, that's his biggest loss. Like, what's the worst Kirby Smart loss to Alabama?
The national title. Duh.
I mean, some would argue that just happened on Saturday.
Or that one.
See?
That one's pretty gutting, too.
See? So
at Ohio State with Saquon Barkley and Trace McSorley's pretty tough L.
Yeah.
Throw it on a dime. Yeah,
Every
that's good.
time.
Song of the day tomorrow, guys.
By the way, everybody always jokes Penn State can lose their big games and just walk to 10-2. Ooh, not so much. Not so fast, my friend. Not with this schedule, boys. At Ohio State, Indiana, and Nebraska? I don't think you can sleep on Nebraska nowadays, boys.
It's not. Well, we came into the season saying they have to go. They can go 0-2 against Ohio State and Oregon, and they'll be fine. It's now you have to go 1-2 against Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon, and you're a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
Can't go 0-3 against them.
You got to go 2-2 versus Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana, and Nebraska. I think Nebraska is an 8 or 9 win football program. I don't think we can look at them and just be like, oh, W.
No,
that's fair.
Anymore.
That's fair. No,
I agree with that.
Not with the way Penn State is playing offensively and with the way their quarterback is. We cannot sleep on Nebraska. Can't be sleeping on Sleeper neither. Shout out to our friends over at Sleeper. Sleeper is a fantasy sports plus real money gaming app focused on bringing people together through sports and gaming. Sleeper has become the fastest organically growing fantasy platform in the world. All right. Use promo code Brooks today. You'll get a 100% deposit match over there with our friends at Sleeper. We're going.
Oh, my bad.
You're good, brother. You're good. You're over there hitting timestamps. Again, Sleeper. Hey, here's the thing about Sleeper. You know, it only takes one. All right. Right now, I think our season total is 1-3 on Sleeper picks so far on the stream. And that's all it takes. One. Guess what?
You just got to hit once to get
We're
hot.
in the green. We're in the green over on Sleeper, and you can't be today with a 100% deposit match using promo code Brooks. All right, boys, let's move on to that Friday night football game. How did this make the show notes? Was it just such a great football game that we had to talk about it? I didn't talk much about this one on Sunday.
It was a weird football game. So Florida State spotted Virginia 14 points off of 2 turnovers. Florida State then got 2 turnovers of their own, tied the game up, took the lead actually 21-14. The defensive debacle in the second half, which basically, I think that they were probably within a 4-play drive, there were probably 11 broken tackles from Florida State. Virginia ties it up, scores 21-21 at the half. Virginia comes out the half, scores first, and basically Florida State had to play catch-up the entire way through. So that was kind of how the game went, but my biggest takeaway from this was that Florida State's defense looked very bad from a tackling standpoint. They're obviously pretty good at controlling or at least producing turnovers, but they've got some tackling issues.
Yeah, I think that almost like the biggest recap of the entire weekend, in my opinion, would be that Vegas always knows. Yeah. Like, they always know. We talked about how many weird lines there were, and this was one of them, how Florida State was barely a touchdown favorite heading into this one on the road on a Friday night against Virginia. And ultimately, they ended up losing. So, I mean, it was a great football game. I thought that Florida State had an opportunity to put that game away, and they failed to do so. I thought the most important fact about this one is that, you know, typically in these games, like where you have a team that is an underdog that you feel like the other team is supremely talented over, once a lead is given up, if you are Virginia, then it just kind of rolls over and they aren't able to fight it back. But Virginia kept answering every single time. They fought back every single time Florida State had an answer, and they ultimately found a way to win. I mean, that last drive that Florida State was on, or the drive that they had to tie it up, I mean, it felt like mistakes kept piling up for Virginia. There were some crucial penalties that they had, but they stayed in it, man, and they kept fighting, and they pulled out a win. So it was a huge win for the Cavaliers.
Squirrel White, okay.
R.I.P.
I hope. That was a scary scene.
I mean, it looked like a cartoon.
Yeah.
I think the best way. I think the best way to describe it was Simba and the Lion King. When the stampede comes down the valley.
That's a great visual, interpretation of what just happened. Here's the thing, though. He's like a regular sized person. Is Squirrel White? It's not like Deuce Robinson out there. You can find him. If he just stands back up, you're going to find him. Squirrel White stood right back up and just a mob of humans. Mm-hmm. Hope he's okay. Also, not a catch.
I was literally about to.
Not a catch.
Yeah,
not a catch. Like, come on, Florida State fans. I know y'all felt like you got robbed, but you did get robbed. That's not a catch.
1, if you have to bobble a ball for 9 yards, didn't deserve to catch it. 2, still had to make the 2-point conversion, even if that was a catch.
Also, the moment his hands come off that football, he doesn't have possession. And there's a very clear spot where he is bobbling all the way through. Yes, he puts 2 feet in, and he looks like he has the ball, and then he does this one more time, and he's out of bounds. Done. Not a catch.
Completely agree.
So, the other thing, this is a weird take, but am I the only one that didn't clutch their pearls when the Virginia fan flipped Thomas Castellanos off? Am I the only one that was just like, kind of?
I don't mind it. My only, this is my take on all of these things I don't mind students doing that type of thing, but but I also won't be here talking about, a player did a wrong thing if they clap back at you.
Yeah, no, if he got LeGarrette blunted, I would be laughing at that too.
Like if Thomas
I'd be
Castellanos,
laughing at that too.
if Thomas Castellanos elected to shove that kid into the dirt, I would have been saying, hey, you got what you got. Like, you decided to go up into a guy's face and he decided to retaliate. That's on you.
Yeah, we're not going to punish anybody. Vice versa. We're not going to look at a 20-year-old who's probably drunk off his butt that's storming a field at Virginia. Like, Buddy worked his ass off to get into Virginia, of all places, with his 4.2 cumulative GPA, and they beat Florida State. So he wants to act like a goof for the first time in his life. Let him do it. Now, that being said, if he gets chin checked, fair game.
Yep.
Fair game.
Completely agree.
But unfortunately, that wouldn't be like, we're not, the law's not going to go, this is fair game.
The law should.
I agree.
The law on this show will.
That
The law on this show will. And we will fight to the death for Thomas Castellanos' legal defense team. Hell, we'll start a GoFundMe.
All Super Chubs will be donated
All
back
Super Chubs will be donated to Thomas Castellanos' mythical law defense for sticking that Virginia student. Tennessee survived Mississippi State. I knew that game was going to be fireworks and a shoot show. And that's exactly what it was.
That's the heartbreak of the week, in my opinion. If you're a Mississippi State fan, that one's going to linger for a while.
I'm glad we can go ahead and go and get this takeoff. Shame on you. Shame on you, Mississippi State fans. Absolute shame on you. Do y'all know that you have a top 25 football team? Did anybody tell y'all? Because I look on I didn't watch the TV copy. I look on the all 22, and the home side is completely empty in the second row. You saw it, didn't you, J. Will? Mm-hmm. Embarrassing. There's a top 10 football team in your stadium. You are ranked for the first time in 10 years. You are ranked, and you got a chance. And God forbid you actually had a home field advantage outside of your cowbells. Also, I see all kinds of orange on the other side. They damn near bought your stadium out. They bought their side of the stadium out, and you couldn't even buy your own. Sorry.
But no, going back to this, like, they outrushed Tennessee. They won the turnover battle. They were better on third down. They won time of possession. Like, you did all the things that you need to do to win a game, check the boxes and all that. They forced Joey Aguilar to make some bad throws. At the end of the day, 14 points off of turnovers was what doomed them in that. And that's going to stick with you for a while. Because how many times a game do you get 2 non-offensive touchdowns?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
It sucks for Mississippi State. But no, I think that it also validated them as like, hey, this is a legitimate team. They beat a top 15 team earlier this year and gave another top 15 team everything they could handle. So
Come on, Mississippi State fans. Like, you had the whole SEC media base going to bat for you when Kenny Dillingham had the nerve to say something about Starkville. So show up for your football team.
I mean, at the very worst, like, even if Mississippi State goes 6-6 this year, you have a fun football team to watch right now. They are one of the most explosive offenses in the country right now. They went toe-to-toe with a team that many think might be the best or one of the best teams in the SEC. It's probably going to be that way for the rest of the season. So show up for your team, man. You got a fun football team to go watch.
Couple of things. We watched the film today. I think Tennessee left over 100 yards worth of explosives on the tape because of drops. Mike Matthews had a 75-yard touchdown drop. Braylon Staley had a drop. There were big-time drops in that football game. There was also an OPI. There was not an OPI. Now, all 22 sure as hell looks like all 20 or an OPI, and that's on me. And Tennessee fans, let me know in our comments on our film study today. So there's that. Now, there is a problem with Tennessee currently, at least against SEC opponents. I do think they are struggling to run the football efficiently and consistently. Now, they spit some runs every once in a while. And I did you have a chance to look up the numbers on the run game overall?
No, I didn't.
Generally across college football?
I have not.
Do that case study for me when you get a chance. I know you're busy as all get out, but when you get a chance, read that or do that a study for me. And I've had these conversations with other coaches in the conference, coaches in the conference about just how difficult it is to run the football right now consistently, like getting after it 6-7 yards a carry or 5 yards a carry, even at that rate. Like, everybody right now is 1.8, 2.2, 2.2, bam, 30-yard gusher just out of nowhere. And I think a lot of it is because of run stunts and what we're doing run game wise around college football. And what it's causing is, I think it's causing some red zone inefficiencies in some of these football games. Tennessee settled for a lot of field goals in that football game, and I think it's because they fail to run the ball at will. And when you can't do that, you struggle in the red zone.
So just off of a little quick search, there's like a 20-yard difference between this time of year last year, the leading team in the country for rushing. It was Army. They averaged 371 rushing yards per game. Right now, Navy is leading the nation at 352 yards per game.
Okay. So about almost a 20-yard difference.
A 20-yard difference, yeah.
All right. That's at the top. Mm-hmm. I wonder if there's a net difference between like 1 through 10 last year and 1 through 10 this year. We'll see. I just, it's something that some coaches are talking about, like, hey, some of these programs just can't run the ball. Well, a lot of them can't run the ball, right? Alabama can't run the football successfully. LSU can't run the football efficiently. Without Ole Miss's quarterback, I don't know if they can run the football efficiently.
Clemson can't run the football.
Clemson can't run the football. Arkansas can't run the football. Like, there are a lot of football programs that can't run the football that normally do. It's Missouri that can, Georgia that can, triple option teams that can, quarterback run based teams that can, Georgia Tech, right? Florida State. That's about it. Everybody else is really, really struggling to run the rock right about now across college football. Auburn's yuck fest.
Oh, boy.
Speaking of running the football, how about, all right, we always start with credit before we get to blame or before we get to criticism on this network. So let's give some credit to Hugh Freeze. I don't do this a lot, so I want to give some credit. Boys, I watched this post-game press conference. Now, it was only about 8 minutes long, but I expected to go in there and see all kind of player blaming. All kind of, damn, we stink. Damn, we got to get better. These guys are bad. I got to figure out some decision-making at the quarterback or whatever. I expect to see, nope. I saw 7.5 minutes of, we got to get better as a staff. I got to get better as a staff. I got to do better. I got to.
Good for him.
7 minutes of refusing to player blame.
Is that good or bad, though? Is that good or bad, though? Because obviously it's good. But could it mean something bad for players on that team of, we've written this guy off. We're not even worried about it. I'm done throwing him under the bus.
Honestly, I just wanted to say good things about Hugh because I'm about to rip. All right. 177 yards of total offense. A&M outrushed you for total yardage in this football game. 3 points offensively. I'm not giving you that offensive touchdown when you get the ball at the 2 because your defense finally made a play for you guys and changed field position. 0 of 13 on third down. Boys, this football team is 3 of 28 this year on third down. 3 of 28. Okay? Wow. And here's the deal. We fired Billy Napier about 2 years ago for refusing to stop calling plays and then all of a sudden having a crappy offense. Ain't nobody more involved with their offensive play calling than Hugh Freeze. Now, he gets to do it because he pays DJ Durkin $3.5 million on the defensive side of the football, and they are locked tight, so he don't have to do nothing over there. But this is putrid, and this is all the head football coach. And here's the worst part, absolute worst part. They have spent a ton of money on this roster and the future of their roster. And I tweeted this, and I tweeted a video, talked about it on Sunday. I don't think you can fire the guy because you've spent way too much money on players that he has recruited. And they're all going to go to the portal, and they're all going to decommit, and you've already paid a lot of it, about 75% of your future talent. All right, the ones on the roster and the ones maybe already received some down payments. All right, so you've already paid a lot of money on players. And if you fire this guy, they all leave. And I've said this, and guess what? Auburn fans are like, we don't care. Get rid of this guy. And this is what's crazy to me, because in the summer, we had multiple run-ins with the Auburn fan base. Multiple. And it was all me crushing Hugh and Auburn fans coming to bat for this guy. Auburn fans, Auburn media, in my mentions, all spring, all summer, all preseason, ready to go to bat for this guy. Ready to shoot me over Hugh Freeze's honor. Now, 2 conference games in, 2, they're ready to pay me to shoot the guy immediately like that. So he is definitely in trouble. There's no doubt.
So I went back and watched like the highlights of this game. That game was close on paper. It should not have been. I feel like Texas A&M should have won that game by 21 points. Every single time the Aggies had the ball, they were in striking distance every single time. And had it not been for a defensive play that they had a pick 6 or a dang near pick 6, they got down to like the 5-yard line, that game would have been ugly the entirety of the game. So it was just a complete mess on the road. It was what I was scared of going into this game, is I didn't know if the offense was going to be able to show up and do enough for you to win that game, despite the fact that I picked you to win that game. They're just in complete shambles right now. That offense is not doing what they thought it would. So I think going on to the Hugh Freeze thing, I mean, I've always said, like I said in the offseason, like the biggest indicator to know if Hugh Freeze feels like he's in trouble is if he makes a change at quarterback, because they put a lot of money into Jackson Arnold. So moving off of that guy to go to your backup, your 5-star quarterback in Deuce Knight, that to me screams, we got to do something. We got to make sure that we do something right, that we have something going for this offense where it's like, okay, there's a future here that we can move forward. If that happens, that's what I would be saying, like, okay, he knows he's in trouble.
Mm-hmm. It's a bye week this week. Be a good opportunity to get a freshman quarterback some opportunity.
Yeah, probably not wrong.
Take that job over. Mm-hmm. And you're right. That is he's got nobody to walk to the plank. He doesn't, like Chat's talking about firing the offensive staff. Who? He gonna fire himself? Well, I mean, hell, he calls every single play. Watch them, especially at home. Watch this football team and specifically watch Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze is on that damn microphone talking to his quarterback the entire time, coaching him through the entire play. And you can see it on tape. You can see it affect the quarterback too. Why is the quarterback holding the football? Well, probably not. It's not 100% this, but I've seen this happen. Especially, it sounds goofy, but they call plays and treat the quarterback like a 7-on-7 quarterback. He is in his head all the way up until the snap, telling him exactly what he thinks is about to happen from the sideline. Hey, do this, do this, do this. And you can see it the whole time. He's talking. And finally, Jackson's getting the football and looking at what coach just got done telling him, just staring at it the whole time. And if it don't work out, bam, 15 sacks in the last 8 quarters.
Anything from you?
I mean, there's not much to add. That was a pretty awful performance. And I feel like we kind of buried Hugh Freeze, but it's very obvious that the Hugh Freeze experience is beginning to dwindle at Auburn, at least within the fan base. I know that, the numbers might allow him to stay there throughout the year, but it's ugly.
Cam Coleman, you are a Texas Longhorn.
He's going to Texas somewhere in that state.
Yeah,
one of those.
Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Texas, or Michigan. Those 4. Because I tweeted 1.8 to 2 million. Immediately got a DM from someone who is very much so in the know. Try 3, buddy. Like he gonna run up a check this offseason.
Understandable.
Damn right he should. Because all he's been doing is running slants and go balls, and he's a little bit better than that.
For sure.
Ole Miss. Now, somebody in the notes said Ole Miss outlasts or survives LSU. I did not feel as if that was the case. I felt like you mentioned, I felt like it was a 21-point win a little bit earlier. I felt like this game Ole Miss should have won by 17 points. One team had an offense, the other didn't. That's how I felt about this football game.
Yeah, it was only a matter of time, in my opinion, before the fact that you have an offensive line that doesn't really protect the quarterback well and a running game that's ineffective at best before it rears its ugly head and you stop being, or you lose a game at least. I'm not going to say they're not a national title contender still because everything's on the table for them, but it was pretty clear and evident that after week 1, LSU had some big problems on the offensive side of the football, and Ole Miss exposed them finally.
Now, I predicted Ole Miss to win this game, and one of the things that I said why I thought Ole Miss would win this game is because I thought Trinidad Chambliss would be better on third down than Garrett Nussmeier. And what do you know? Ole Miss was 11 of 22 on third down. LSU was 6 of 16. And I said a reason, it wasn't just because of Garrett Nussmeier, but it's because his offense cannot run the ball. They're consistently getting themselves in bad positions on third down, and therefore this offense isn't as explosive as many people thought it would be. And it's a shame that the offense is kind of being a letdown right now because that defense, I think, is good enough. It's good enough for you to be a national title contender if your offense could put something together. I mean, holding a Lane Kiffin offense to that many points on the road, that's good enough. It should have been good enough for you, but the offense just can't find any consistency right now.
Who is the leading rusher in that football game? How many yards did Chambliss have?
Let's see.
That's all I really want to know. I thought going into that game, Chambliss had an opportunity to be the leading rusher in the game because neither one of those football teams have consistent offensive line play.
Bentley was the leading rusher in this game for Ole Miss, 107 yards.
Lane Kiffin's a magician.
On 11 carries.
Lane Kiffin is a magician. Trinidad Chambliss is the guy moving forward.
Gotta be.
There's any doubt there.
Gotta be.
It has to be. What'd y'all think of all the... Never mind. Not even worth talking about. Caden Lee and Deuce Alexander, ball players. Absolute ball players. What I did not expect, no offense, Deuce, if you're listening, I did not expect Deuce Hilton or Deuce Alexander to become the guy in that offense that they're just like, oh, he's got one-on-one, back shoulder ball. There was an entire scoring possession there late in the fourth quarter where they get like 80 yards on 2 he's better than their corners. He is balling right now. Like, went from great college player to this kid's going to live on Sundays. Him and Caden both. And both of them were very, very underrated kids coming out of high school here in the state of Georgia. So good for them.
What does this do for Ole Miss as a national title contender for you? Because, I mean, they jumped up in the AP poll, and we kind of came into the season saying they've lost too much along the offensive line. They're going to have to replace too much for anyone to really take them seriously. But now they have this win. Are you buying them as a playoff contender, a national title contending team?
The defense still concerns me. The offensive line still concerns me. I don't think the defense has enough. Like, is Suntarian Perkins, what's going on there?
I have no idea.
That guy was he was a 10.5 sack guy last year. Seems like he can't get home right now. Did he get home against LSU? Because he had 0 sacks going into the football game. I just wonder about their ultimate blue chip talent, like going into, can they make a playoff, Kirby? Yes. Can they win when they get there? I don't know.
They didn't have a single sack. They had 3 tackles for loss in the game.
See, it's my major concern about them. All right, general line of scrimmage play shows how good you're going to be in November, December, how well you travel, all that type of stuff. And I worry about their ultimate like blue chip status as a line of scrimmage football team.
Yeah. I was just curious.
But the quarterback makes them special. There's no doubt about it, though. If he continues to play that way. Now, he does spray it just a little bit. If you watch him, he's not like the cleanest passer, but he's making major, major explosive plays. All right, guys, we got a lot of football games to preview, so let's go ahead and transition. If you haven't hit that like button, go ahead and do so. If it's your first time viewing today, make sure you're subscribing. All right, week 6, guys, there's some big football games. Let's start in Gainesville, Florida, as the Texas Longhorns go on the road to take on the Florida Gators. It's our first look at Arch, man, and our first real look at Arch that matters, guys, since August 30th. We've gone a month since this guy's basically played a team with a pulse.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of in between there and a lot of narrative changing since then. So I'm going to be very interested to see what Arch looks like against a defense that, let's be honest, has been the strong suit of Florida all season. They have come out and they've, really rallied behind the fact that, I don't know what they've rallied behind, but they are playing good football right now.
They're playing inspired football. There's no doubt about that. I mean, gave up what? Do we look at the LSU performance slightly differently now that we know that LSU offense is very, very stagnant and one-dimensional, and the quarterback's obviously hurt? But either way, they turned right around the next week and held the Miami football team to basically 19 points. The last touchdown was...
I think we can still look at the LSU performance as, that was a great performance because you had 5 turnovers in that game. So...
The biggest thing for me in this game is that if Florida's able to strike early, if Texas is able to get up early, it's going to be done. You're playing this game at the Swamp, and if you're able to get some big plays early on in this game, and if you go up 10-0 or you go up 14-0, all the energy that is left in that fan base is going to be drained. And I think at that point, this team is just going to be, well, we know what's about to happen. We know where the direction of this program is heading at this point.
I'll be previewing this game with some Arch Manning film versus Sam Houston. Very curious to see what I go see, but I'm a fool me once. You're not going to fool me again, kind of guy with regards to the mopping up the floor with the mid-majors. Like, cool, buddy. We beat the hell out of Sam Houston. Go do it against Florida. I think the far more important thing is, what does this look like? Do the yips return? Because that looked to me like a guy who the game was a little bit too fast, all right, when you played Ohio State. And then the game continued to be fast for 2 weeks or 2 opponents after that. And then it slowed back down for you against Sam Houston because you've been playing 3 tomato cans in a row, and now you got a real football team on the road in Gainesville. So you're right. I do wonder what the environment's going to look like out there with Florida, right? How loud is Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, Is that Ben Hill Griffin or Ben Griffin?
I think it's Ben Hill Griffin.
Okay.
I just call it the Swamp.
Yeah.
Just the Swamp.
Yeah.
Better name.
Swamp.
Better name.
Swamp. Texas might need to score 17 points in this game.
They might. That might be all it takes. But if that happens, that's not impressive.
Yeah, but I mean, the defense can win this game.
Oh, the defense for sure.
I mean, they might need to score 17 points with a defense a touchdown. And
Yeah.
like, it's very plausible.
But if that happens, do we not have to have a completely different conversation about, hey, we might need to bench Arch Manning?
Honestly, they might be up a creek without a paddle because apparently Two's got that look in his eye.
Ooh.
I don't know if y'all heard.
Who is in DJ?
Yep. And I don't know if y'all heard, but Billy Napier done said Two got that look in his eye. So watch out.
Here's a real question. If Florida somehow pulls out the win, do you fire him anyways? Do you still just
that
fire
is
him?
an interesting.
Honest to God, I bet they're hoping they lose.
I know, but so like
The administration, I think, is hoping that they. I don't know. I don't know how this is. You're right, because it's very plausible that Billy comes out and finds a way to win this football game, and now all of a sudden we got to have this conversation.
Well, here's the thing. I think we can all agree he's a lame duck. You've already surpassed the 4 games margin to where it's like, hey, we just need to get here before we can do it. They're going to lose more games inevitably. And maybe if the miracle really does happen and Florida wins this game and then turns it around and they beat Georgia and they beat all these other SEC teams, maybe Billy Napier saved this season. So I would say you'd want Florida to win this game because you feel like you have a lame duck already.
Jonathan, we haven't played Guess the Line basically all year. We kind of dumped the segment. But I'm very curious what this gambling line is.
yeah, I already have it pulled up.
I bet it's Texas minus 7.5.
I'll go 10.5. Just to.
You're both wrong. It is Texas minus 6.5. It's just going to be a defensive battle.
Vegas knows.
Like the over/under set at 42.5. That's like a Iowa versus Rutgers over/under.
No, we can't say Iowa anymore, dude.
Iowa's offense is coming to town.
Iowa throws the football.
Yeah, that's right. This is Iowa's offense. You're right.
We can't do that.
That was nuts.
This is like Florida versus Nebraska.
You think the Yips return for Arch?
We'll find out.
This would be the environment. But that's the thing is like, are you going to get your traditional swamp atmosphere?
I hope so.
I hope
you do.
Isn't that a pick and stick sellout? Like weren't they selling out even? Don't they have a sellout streak?
I believe so.
Most SEC teams do, honestly.
And like the good thing about like college football fans, like this doesn't happen in the NFL really. Like those fans will stop showing up to games, and it happens if it gets bad enough in college. But like for these types of programs, people keep showing up. Now the environment may not be as loud as it usually is, but despite how frustrated Florida fans might be with Billy Napier, you still want to beat Florida, in my opinion. Even if you want Billy Napier fired, like you still want to be the team that beats Arch Manning.
Wonder what it costs. Here's how we'll know. Ticket costs. Ticket costs for that football game. As if maybe potentially
how high
there
is
were
the
like
demand?
an app. Yeah, how high is the supply and demand
I've
for
actually
this
got an
football
idea
game right
for you,
about now?
Brooks. We should probably head over on to our friends over at SeatGeek. They are the #1 rated ticketing app with over 35 million downloads, over 70,000 events listed. If you use code FilmGuy10, you'll get a 10% discount on tickets. I believe my screen is being shared right now.
Give me some issues.
Technology, folks.
Hey, you got a camera right there.
Yeah. No, that's terrible. That's bad.
Yeah, that would be a
TV.
bad read.
But no,
what is
either
it
way.
telling you? Seriously.
So yeah, I'll look at this
in
right
terms
now.
of ticket
Using
prices
our
right
friends
now.
over at SeatGeek, I'm going to look at the ticket prices here.
Shout out to SeatGeek. They've been a tremendous partner for us already this season. Again, that's Film Guide 10 for 10% off.
Looks like we've got a low of $138 and a median price is around $350.
That tells me that people ain't going.
Yeah, that tells me there's a lot of tickets available too.
You think so?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, my business degree would tell me.
I see a lot of like 150 to 140, but there's also some 300.
For reference, the lowest ticket we've seen in doing this segment all year, I think, was $295.
I was gonna say, like, I think like one of the cheaper tickets you can get for Georgia, Kentucky this week is like $100.
Nah, the ones at Georgia, Kentucky, you can get from 80s.
Okay,
So.
all right. Maybe that's Texas being a brand right there.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like it's a big opportunity.
All right.
There's from tickets from $92 for.
Well, that's great because with SeatGeek you can get an even better deal to go to this game.
That's right.
So if you want to go watch two big football programs match it up.
Shout out to our friends over at SeatGeek. That's code FilmGuy10 to get 10% off your next set of tickets.
Shout out to SeatGeek. Shout out to the Texas A&M Aggies rock fighting their way to an undefeated record. Mississippi State coming to town this weekend. Mississippi State at Texas A&M. The 14.5-point line seems rather lofty to me considering A&M's season so far, to be honest with you. And I want some pushback here. So develop an argument, figure it out. Is Texas A&M the least impressive undefeated team in college football?
Ooh,
in terms of the Power Four.
Count to 15. And
I'll give you. I didn't prepare you for this. Are they the least? Do they have the least impressive resume of an undefeated team in college football? Because they kind of slopped around with their two mid-majors. They beat a Notre Dame team who, let's be honest, doesn't look like the Notre Dame that we thought was preseason, particularly in the passing department, right? We know how bad Auburn is, and they didn't really exactly punch it in the end zone there against Auburn. And yeah, they missed a bunch of field goals. Probably should have won by 21. But are they the least impressive undefeated resume so far in college football?
I got a counter answer that you'll love. Well, these are not Power 4, but I'm going to go and say it for your UNLV.
UNLV. Yeah, we know that one. I know they played nothing but garbage.
Maryland is also undefeated.
Oh, no. Here's
I
the
can't
answer.
believe you came in here not knowing that I knew UNLV was a bunch of frauds.
I think it's Houston.
Houston is also
Houston's
better.
like I watched them on Friday night. They were the late night Friday night game, and they played Oregon State.
Hey, easy on the Beavs.
No.
Easy on the Beavs.
They were going to lose that game. They were on the verge of losing to Oregon State.
Pick 6 early.
Yeah.
For the Beavs.
So I'd say they're the least impressive. Now they have a chance. I think they have a big game this weekend. I can't remember who they play, but for the Big 12, they got a big matchup. So maybe they can right that ship a little bit and get some momentum going. But for now,
all right. So the responses were Houston and a non-Power 4
and Maryland.
In Maryland. So I think I got a pretty strong case for least impressive undefeated so far.
It's up there.
It's
for
up
sure.
there. 14.5 points. That being said, a little bit lofty for me. That's my first thought in this football game. Mississippi State's better than that, even though their fan base doesn't know that.
Have they been on the road yet, though?
No, they haven't.
No, they have not.
It might not be too lofty, to be honest.
Did they go to Tempe?
No,
that was at Mississippi State. Yeah, because we had to prep them for cowbell.
So it may not be as lofty as you think, to be honest.
Still undefeated, though, is
Still undefeated.
Still undefeated. All right, Miami at Florida State, boys. Was Virginia a trap game? Question mark.
Oh, I mean, obviously the answer to that is yes, but the bigger question for me is what gives here, because we have a quarterback in Carson Beck who we've seen that if you speed it up and if you get him in uncomfortable situations, he will just let the ball fly. And we have a Florida State secondary that's shown that they can create turnovers.
Hey, boys, guess what? Miami has 4 true road games this year. Do you want to hear this absolute gauntlet of a road slate?
I do.
At Florida State, Doak Walker, the loudest 67,000-seat stadium you'll ever be in your life. SMU, a real staggering 32K in that road venue. Va-Tech, an absolute cooked football program that fired their football coach 3 weeks into the season. Loud in Blacksburg was 65,000. Pittsburgh, the most fans that they will see all year, 69,000 in that stadium. I'll try that again. Pittsburgh, 69,000 in that stadium.
No, see, it's only the number 69. You can't add the 1,000 to it.
Okay. I didn't know we had stipulations on
There's
that.
rules, apparently.
I guess there's rules.
We're not children. Come on.
I think Miami's the more complete football team. The question is, are they going to be able to actually, show up? Because Mario's due for a Mario game.
Yeah, Mario's
due for a Mario game.
And that's kind of the thing I think we're all waiting on. Everyone's kind of looking at Miami right now going, hey, that's a really good football team, but kind of whispering to themselves, they're going to blow this at some point.
A little whistling by the graveyard.
Yeah.
I will say, though, I don't like the matchup for Florida State. I think Miami's defensive line is really good, and I think that they have the potential to really nullify this run game for Florida State. And if that's the case, they could get into some trouble. But I mean, I think that Gus Malzahn has shown that he can still manufacture success in the run game when he needs to, and they've been creative enough on offense that may not be a problem, but that would worry me a little bit.
College game day. Going to Tuscaloosa this weekend. As the Vanderbilt Commodores go on the road to see them Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama got a get-back opportunity from that, rather disappointing loss on the road last year at Vandy. Initial thoughts.
Money Manziel going to be there.
Yeah, I heard.
Interesting.
I heard. Hey, that's a weird one. Do you think why is Alabama giving him a press pass? Because that's who controls that.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Because he's a national brand.
Yeah, I know, but national, you still got to go through an accreditation. Like you still have to go through the SID department.
I mean, the Rizzler was on the sideline for Georgia's game this last weekend.
True.
So
the Rizzler's cursed. That's why y'all lost.
Oh, don't even
get me started.
Don't start that, dude. But no, I think this is going to be a game where it's a big marquee matchup. I don't think anyone would have believed you if you said, hey, Vanderbilt's going to be undefeated by the time they play Alabama, and they'll have a better record than Alabama. But this doesn't feel like a trap game to me this year.
I got a first valid talking point for not being talked about enough. You ready?
All right.
Vandy's passing offense. Vandy's passing offense not being talked about enough. They are 21st in 20-plus yard passing plays, 48th in 30-yard-plus passing plays, and 16th in 40-plus yard passing plays. This offense is 300 yards explosively through the air every single game through 5 games. I don't think anybody, even Diego Pavia's little brother, ever thought that they would be chunking it like this at Vanderbilt while also being a top 10 team in the country in rushing offense. Granted, they've played nobody, but they've dominated.
Well, I think that's what's scary about the offense is that they run the ball really well and they'll just kind of chunk you to death there. And then all of a sudden they take the top off of you and they're in the end zone. Like that's the thing about this offense that makes them dangerous. I will say, however, like heading into this matchup, knowing that Vanderbilt's defense struggled against Utah State last week, I don't know how that's going to go against this Alabama offense.
Hey, the Aggies are tough.
No, I mean, they are tough, but we talked about Alabama earlier in the show. They are good for 5 explosives a game, and I think that will probably be a difference enough, and especially in the home environment. I trust Alabama in this game.
Why isn't Clark Lee being mentioned for these bigger jobs? Doesn't he make like $6.5 million at Vandy right now?
I don't know if it's that much, but
I think he got an extension. I'm pretty sure they pay him handsomely.
3.7. Or sorry.
That's incorrect.
But no, even so, like
if so, yeah, he might need to leave.
But it's also Vanderbilt was what 7-5 last year.
He's from there,
yeah, and he's a Vanderbilt guy. He's from that area. It's not like he's now. If we get through the end of the season and you look up and Vanderbilt's like an 8-4, 9-3 team, yeah, Clark Lee's going to be getting some phone calls. But right now, it's still very much like hey, we're going to still wait and see. We don't necessarily know if. I think Clark Lee's in a very similar situation where James Franklin was in 2012 when he was at Vanderbilt. Where it's like, hey, this team has been elevated to another level. We'll see if he can continue this and make them a program that you need to start calling around for.
Looks like it's around $3 million.
He needs a raise and a fat one.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be the next wave of money that gets spent at Vanderbilt needs to be on retaining and developing that staff. Now they are in a very peculiar window, because we don't know what the future looks like after Pavia. Do we think this is Pavia's that special, or do we think this is a thing? We're just is this their Jordan Rodgers, or is this like a consistent thing?
This might be their Jordan Rodgers, honestly.
Yeah, this is kind of like they've never had this amount of success and have been this much in the limelight before, but this feels like Vanderbilt was really good for 2 years, but heading into next year, what are you going to do? I guess you could go pay another quarterback if you want to, but that doesn't feel like their style, in my opinion.
Y'all ready for a local hour?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We got a lot to talk about in the local hour. Let's get to it. See you on the other side of the break. Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? You really like that? Let's shut up and grind some tape.
Well, I guess we should welcome in the audience. Brooks is currently elsewhere right now.
This is the energy, how you're going to open up our show right now?
Dude, this is the energy of how I'm going to open up this show right now. We know what happened on Saturday. This is the hour where we get to be biased and we get to be Georgia fans.
How about you be a professional?
Whoa.
Is he giving you hell right now for feeling lonely?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, this is how you're opening the local.
This guy's giving you crap.
I wasn't breaking down film this morning. You were.
I just want y'all to know, okay? My wife is like the most important person in my life. She balances me. She keeps me sane. All right. She keeps me energized when I need it. All right. All that good stuff, even though I don't need extra juice all that often, but she's there when I need it. Now, there is one other person in my life that no matter when I ever see him, I get a smile on my face because he's got a smile on his face, and it's you. And you failed me. You walked in this freaking office this morning, this studio, with a fat old lip. And I understand why. I get it. You paid a lot of money to go to that school and you love that red and black. But when I see you, son, I better see a smile on your face because you are my smile. You are what I see every morning when I come down here and I get juiced because I see you. So I need you to bring it every single day, even though you had your heart ripped out on Saturday night.
I needed answers. I hadn't had answers yet, all right? I was just left to myself this weekend over the entire Sunday to think about the game. So I needed answers, all right? I needed some therapy, okay? I got it.
Well, it's going to be therapeutic over the next, 60 minutes or so. We got Georgia versus Bama takeaways. What's going on with the passing game? We'll talk about it. Positive and negative takeaways from this football game and potentially an early look at Kentucky. But I want to start with film notes. We've broken down the offense and the defense already. Guys, by the way, shout out to Austin Mixon. Shout out to Jonathan for getting in here on Sunday nights and Monday morning so we can already have the most important film studies broken down and spit out by Sunday evening. So shout out to you guys. Let's start on the offensive side of the ball. No, we'll start on the defensive side of the ball. Start on the defensive side of the football. I thought apart from one scramble early on, the very first third down of the football game, and one other third down, I think in the third quarter, where the pass rush is a little misaligned. Gabe Harris is supposed to be bumped out into the flat to reroute the number 2 wide receiver, and they get it all jumbled up, and you get late to rush, and then Ty Simpson scrambles out and hits Ryan Williams for a 20-yard gasher. Apart from those 2 third downs, I thought the other 11 that they converted of the 13 of 19, they earned. They earned through elite quarterback play, all right, playing on time. And other than that, a lot of big misconceptions about, we didn't get home, we didn't get enough pressure. Bull crap. That kid was getting rid of the football. You know why the stats say you didn't get home? Because it's impossible to get home in 2.5 seconds. That kid played so ahead of time, not on time. He was ahead of time the entire football game, okay? The time to release was something extremely impressive. Also was absolutely dialed into tight windows, made it really, really hard to even get off the field.
Yeah, and I would say I don't think that necessarily the ability to get home against Ty Simpson was ever an issue for mine. What you're talking about, though, the fact that he was able to find the right answer within 2.5 seconds is the problem in itself.
Yeah,
there was never a moment where Ty Simpson had to hold on to the football because nothing was coming open.
Christian, you can't walk down on these guys.
I get it.
You can't reroute them. You can't get in their face. You can't disrupt their timing because they will run right by you. And that's the problem. Mm-hmm. That's the problem that they create. So will they face another defense that forces them into 19 third downs? Probably not. Mm-hmm. They'll end up 8 of 11 in their next football game. But this football team is going to be a problem offensively moving forward. And their only limitation is the fact that they can't run the ball. Mm-hmm. Now, the Alabama fans will say that we found ways to get around that, and you did. And that's Ryan Grubb, tip of the cap. Mm-hmm. Incredible screen calls, incredible second down management. But the problems that they have are problems, and they will continue to be problems, but they did enough. They did enough in that first half to gut you.
It's the second year in a row, as I mentioned in the national hour, where Alabama's offense had the upper hand against Georgia's defense in the first half, and Georgia's defense responded really well in the second half. They didn't score a single point. Now, that's also courtesy of the kicker shanking a freaking field goal out into the baseball field over there. But your defense made adjustments, but it feels like it's got to happen sooner. It's got to be able to, you start the game like that, and that just hasn't happened for you both years in a row now against this team.
I thought, like I said, you got effective pressure relatively often. Also, you're going to see those screens again. I promise you right now. People are going to bunch you and basically trigger your Mike linebacker to run into the middle hole. That's what was happening. They were firing the number 2 wide receiver right down the middle of the field against your 2 high shell, and the Mike linebacker's got to turn and run with that number 2 receiver or number 3 receiver or whichever most vertical threat inward is taking him. So we're running guys out of the box in a full hard bail and not able to turn around. And now all of a sudden the other Mike, a lot of the time was Chris Cole, the other linebacker in the box is adding into the pressure, and you're getting falsified pressure. It's because it's a screen right to your face. So you're going to see it again. You're going to have to figure out ways to make a play on it. Thank God Jordan Hall made a play on it, or else you're probably getting hit with another touchdown on that one. So it was also very clear to me, guys. And we talked all week last week about a deficiency that we thought Alabama had at the left tackle position with regards to facing speed rushers. It was very clear to me that Georgia's coaching staff did not think he was as gettable as I thought he was gettable, because I didn't see a single matchup of Chris Cole versus Caden Proctor. Now, every time Chris Cole was rushing, he was rushing over the right tackle. They thought that was a gettable advantage for them, and it didn't get home. Formsby was the highest rated tackle on PFF in all of SEC football this week. So now I don't know if that's them or if that's me just thinking poorly of Caden Proctor and incorrectly, but it didn't happen. They didn't hunt him at all on tape.
Yeah. No, they did not. And I think that might be, that's obviously one of the issues that...
Is that a me thing?
I don't know.
Or are you criticizing Shu for that? I think that's a me thing personally. I think I'm incorrect. Caden Proctor must be a dude.
I mean, they clearly think very highly of him. They were giving him screens. So
yeah, Alabama staff loves him.
Yeah, so I mean, again,
I think it's a me thing. We'll see, based off the NFL success and the draft success, honestly. So there's that. I thought the move to put DeMello Jones in the game was just as much about Ellis's tackling as it was about his coverage ability.
Yeah, and this is and I thought DeMello played well. I thought he made a big play. I think it was in the second half of the game, I want to say, where he made a play on the ball, which is what Georgia fans have been wanting from their defensive backs. And I feel like this is how these defensive back battles have gone over the last couple of years, where you have a couple of guys battling out. You start the season with one guy, then maybe you shift to another. And eventually, in a game like this, it's where one of those guys will step up. And maybe DeMello Jones is going to be the guy that you stick with moving forward. I don't know. But he certainly seemed like he was in a comfortable position that game, and he certainly answered the call when his number was ultimately called.
Yeah, I think that you're finding out a little more about what the rotation is going to be like in the cornerback room moving forward, at least. I think that it's obvious that Dalen is the guy on the opposite side, but by proxy, again, Daniel Harris didn't play in this game. He's dealing with some sort of injury. I think that we saw one of the corners of the two kind of, take a lead as far as it goes, as far as playing time from here on out.
I'll tell you this much. They were unable to run the football as much as I thought they were going to be unable to run the football.
Yep.
But it didn't matter because the second down play calling was elite and the third down execution was historic, literally historic. So when that type of stuff happens, you can be one-dimensional. Now, I don't know if it's going to continue to happen because statistically, I don't know if the quarterback's going to be that great. Also, quarterback played great. How many tough grabs, how many tough catches did those wide receivers make?
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord, play after play. They had one drop, Ryan, obviously. But the rest of the time, I mean, those were not easy catches. The third down tight end grab, Rayland, maybe it was Rayland or CJ, the linebacker is draped on him. And that is a tight window throw and an elite catch. So I don't know how much of that is repetitive unless they're just that good, which I do think they are that good with regards to the weaponry department. There's no doubt about that.
Yep.
I thought you did a better job of taking away their primaries in the second half. That's why you had success. I think it's why you had a couple more pressures in the second half. You had an opportunity to get home a couple times. You got off the field a couple times because I felt you actually got him off of his primary read, which is something. It's hard to do that consistently because he is really, really smart. He attacks the right parts of the defense first. And I thought he made the right decision in where he was pre-snap IDing his wins for 9 straight third downs. I mean, he went 9 of 9 to open that football game.
Yeah.
And we know that. Honestly, I thought the second half, their inability to move the football was a lot to do because they dumped the clip in the first half. I felt like they had almost like an adrenaline dump offensively because they've been on the field 70 snaps by midway through the third quarter.
Yeah.
That I felt like they got tired. They honestly, from a field points view, I was like, they're getting gassed offensively because they've been on the field for the whole game.
Yeah, and it also felt like in that second half that they had felt that they had created somewhat of a lead that they could maybe necessarily didn't need to feel the need to take the top off and risk giving Georgia the ball back. They were very content with just methodically trickling it down the field, and we saw that in the first half as well, but there was some fatigue setting in.
All right, let's move over to the offensive side of the football. I'm very, very questioned. Now, we should say on the front end that you guys, and Jonathan, you reminded me of this today. Our primary talking point about Carson Beck going into his second year as a starting quarterback was that he needed to play the quarterback position with the confidence as if he had a hot girlfriend and drove a Lambo. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Encouraging him, stop having all these turn downs on tape. Now, I'm about to talk about some stuff that makes you feel really, really uncomfortable and makes you feel pretty bad. And that's about 185 yards of bad decision making or lack of confidence at the quarterback position. Let's talk about it. The first third down of the football game, I felt like Gunner was very, very late to Zachariah Branch on an immediate option for him on a third and medium. I would say lost about 10 yards on the opportunity, okay? And all of these yardages that I'm assuming, by the way, this is assuming that the first near defender tackles the ball carrier, which oftentimes is not the case. But we're doing assumptions, so let's assume that the defense is good. Let's say you cost 10 yards there. Now, the very next possession, he misses Humphreys. What's his first name?
London.
Oh, my God. He misses London Humphreys on a dig, all right? If he had just clicked through his progressions, he would get there. But instead, we're like lingering on Zachariah Branch on a deep over. That's the ball that Zach tipped to himself and almost gets clean, is a clock cleaned, dropping the football. It shouldn't, I mean, it was a drop, but it's not labeled a drop. He shouldn't catch that football. It's a tough ball. So that's about 20 yards. So we're up to 30. Now, the very first possession of the second quarter, the play where Zachariah Branch gets tackled for a -5 yard loss on what looks to be a jet sweep. Guys, that's midline option. And if you look at it on film, it opens up bigger than wider than a school bus. I mean, it's wide as can be, probably 15 yards. It's him and the safety one-on-one if he pulls the football like he should. It's another 15 yards. Turns down Zachariah Branch on a deep over. That's the play where if you're going to scramble, son, the lane's right in front of you. It clicks to his left for some reason and gets sacked. What should have been probably a 30-yard completion to Zachariah Branch turns into a -2 yard sack. Obviously, the Taylor drop has nothing to do with the quarterback, but that's a 65-yard explosive. Oscar Delp was missed on a deep over pretty drastically. I'm going to call that a 30-yard miss. Later in the football game, in the fourth quarter, he gets sacked when they finally play man-to-man coverage, and Zachariah Branch is going to run for days on a sail route. We just don't hit it. We get sacked. Guys, that's about 190 yards left on tape.
Yeah, and
you only took 55 snaps, and that's 7 of them.
And when you put it like that, in the terms of like, this is the amount of yards that were left on the field, it's like, whoa, that is really concerning. And it is, knowing that your quarterback is leaving yards on the field. But I would also say, like, watching the film this morning, it's not that Gunner isn't seeing it. He's looking at the wrong things and missing these balls. He's literally looking at them and just not trusting that the deep over, that Oscar Delp is running to grass right now. He's just not trusting it yet. It's kind of a similar thing that we were talking about heading into the Tennessee game of he's not trusting himself right now. And so maybe this was one of those games where it's like, it happened. It's on film. We're watching it happen right now. Maybe this is what pushes him over the edge. Is like, I just got to do it. Like, I just have to go out there and trust your offensive line, trust your receivers, and trust yourself more importantly.
And well, let's also be fair before we, there is certainly criticisms available for Gunnar Stockton. You could go back to almost any quarterback play and break down some areas where they turned down or missed opportunities and left yards on the field. Mm-hmm. That's given for every college football game. So I'm not just going to say that, this is a Gunnar Stockton issue. There were definitely opportunities missed on Saturday and opportunities that could have been had. And, if they're made, who knows what the outcome of the football game is. I think that the takeaway from this should be for Georgia fans isn't Gunner ain't it. We're going 8-4 if he's starting the rest of the season. Oh, this guy sucks. He's not doing it right. All of these things. We need to see Puglisi. I think the takeaway needs to be there's still room for growth with Gunnar Stockton.
Yeah, I mean, the great news is I just talked about 190 yards left on tape, and you lost the game by 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he didn't play terribly. Also didn't turn the football over.
Yeah.
So those are good things. Also good that, his eyes are in the right spot. That's the best, most encouraging thing. That being said, we're 3 opponents, and 2 of them are mid-majors of teams playing zone and a lot of turndowns on tape, to the point now where even if you're not a zone football team, even if you have to install it the week of, you probably would be foolish to play anything other than zone coverage moving forward against this passing attack until he proves that he's willing to take these shots and willing to compete into windows and throw with some anticipation. That game is different because we're not talking about turn downs of like a 5-yard slant that you have to take and run to the door, which there were some RPO opportunities there that were missed as well, most notably to Noah Thomas. But we're talking about chunk plays in a game that is made and won off of explosives nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing that I want to be said, because I know we're causing concern, probably already getting clipped. From everything I've heard from practice intel, the backup's not playable right now. So there is no decision. You just have to hope and continue to build confidence that these things will get eliminated and he'll start ripping the football confidently.
And you mentioned an important thing there, because obviously seeing a lot of, well, where's Noah Thomas? Where's the tight ends? Why isn't Oscar Delp and Lawson Lucky making big plays? Why do we give Noah Thomas all this money and he's not doing anything? Well, it's not because you're not trying to use them. It's just that right now, or at least in that game specifically too, like there was opportunities to get them the ball. The ball just ultimately didn't get into their hands. And that's just how a game goes sometimes. So it's not like that those guys are just like, should be written off like, oh, they're playing horrible. They're not playing horrible. They're doing their jobs. It's just not ultimately getting finished.
We don't do a lot of what looks to be read option criticisms, right? Because we don't know what's automatic gives, what you've actually been coached to do until I start having further conversations, and then I'm let to know, oh no, he has an ability to throw that football. I'm not talking about the 4th and 1. It was an automatic give. I'm talking about situations where there's obvious cushion, all right, and we have a chance to bang a slant right now to Noah Thomas, and he might run for 25, 30, 40, 50 yards afterwards, and we're just handing the ball off because we're not looking in the right spots, or we don't trust ourselves to make throws, or whatever it may be. Right now, there is a tremendous lack of confidence against these football teams. Now, I think there's hope and continued growth at the quarterback position, though. There's no doubt about that. Guys, he's in his 5th start. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Again, I opened this segment with letting you know that I talked about needing the quarterback last year to be more confident going into the season, and he was 13 starts in and had just got done leading the nation in third down conversion rate. Okay, so this is to be expected from a young quarterback. Now,
and by the way, add on to that, it wasn't until about middle of the season before Carson Beck kind of shook off the check down Charlie moniker.
I felt like it was the Auburn road game. That was a little earlier than what you're saying. That was the first road game. It was like game 4 in that season, I thought, where he throws a back shoulder ball on a deep over to Ladd McConkey. That's like, oh, that's an NFL ball. And then it kind of unlocked his brain to know that he can do these things. I'm waiting for the unlock moment.
Yeah. Well, coincidentally enough, there was a throw against Kentucky for Carson Beck that felt like one of those as well. And who do you know? You play Kentucky this week. So maybe that happens.
Maybe you get a couple of them. All right, let's go to the board, because I do think, obviously, look, Nate Frazier's got to hold on to the football. There's no doubt about it. There is a lack of ball security, and everybody knows now. So you think you're getting the ball hunted now? Like, buddy, everyone knows you got a fumbling problem. So every time you get the ball, people are going to be punching that thing, ripping that thing, getting after the football far more than they ever are. But all that being said, I personally think there was a misidentification on that run play, and we've got a fill player showing up at the line of scrimmage, and we need to talk about this. Let's go to the board. All right, so on this play, guys, they're trying to run inside zone. Jonathan, we don't have Epic Pen up just yet. That's on me because I was late to plug the board in. All right, so drag that over here when you can.
I got it.
All right, you're running inside zone here, okay? So here's the concept. Running back is working this way. All right, running back is working this way. Now, they are in an odd front, right? We have a true nose. We have a 4-eye. We have a 4-eye back here on the backside, outside linebacker. Offense is in attached 12 personnel. That's why they're in a 50 down front, okay? And we're backed up in our own end, no doubt. Now, here is the Mike. Here is the Will. The safety is rolled down into the box, a pseudo third linebacker. Now, this offensive line decides that this is the Mike and this is the Will. We're going to ID this guy. We're going to say Mike 11, meaning this combination is working all the way back to him and these two are working to him. Now, what does that cause? That causes you to go out. That causes you to dig him out. That causes you to block him. Now, what does it leave free? It leaves Bray Hubbard, a pseudo linebacker, and certainly a fill player as we're running strong side right at the line of scrimmage. And he meets Nate right at the line of scrimmage. He puts his hat on the ball, and the ball comes out. Now, here is my thought process on this. When this player, who is a fill player, into the run strength, right into the concept, we have to identify him as a Mike of concern, right? As a linebacker of concern in the play. So we're going to call Mike 18 and Mike 0, and here's how these combinations should work out, right? You two are going to work up here. You two got to dig that nose out and get to the Mike. You've got to cut his face off, and you can block the backside in. Now, the one unblocked defender now becomes number 11, who I would identify as what I would call a scrape player. Okay, so the one guy we left free in my idea of blocking schemes, okay, the one guy we left free is a scrape player, not a fill player. The scrape player's got to work through a bunch of garbage to get you. Okay, the fill player is going to arrive now if we leave him unblocked. That was my problem with that play when I watched it on film. And again, I don't know how they're taught. I don't know how their mic identification is taught inside the building. Okay, but I know Bray Hubbard's a hunter. Okay, I know he's a hunter. And I know that if he's in the box, we better be counting him. I also know that if we have a fill player front side, we should probably attack him in the combination schemes, and we should leave the scrape player free, especially inside of our own 10.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate for both sides. Like, if that is how it played out, if it was called wrong, it's unfortunate that Nate got put in that position. It's also unfortunate that his confidence might be getting knocked right now because he is having issues with, like, that's the biggest thing, is you hope it doesn't, like, wear down on him too much. Because,
all that being said, hold on to the damn ball.
Yeah, hold on to the ball. But I mean, he has talent. He has shown the ability that he can be a good running back if you just hold on to the ball, and hopefully he can get the confidence.
There's certainly a bright spot coming out of the running back room out of that football game and out of the first 4 football games, and that's Chauncey Bowens.
Yeah.
I also love seeing the new split zone attack that they had out of I. They broke a tendency that they obviously had out of attached 12 and running duo, right? I thought it cost them against Notre Dame, and it cost them a couple of times previously in just general regards to run success, and they broke a tendency on it, and those were some of those plays that you saw Chauncey running down the sideline, getting outside of the run scheme and bouncing for 30, 35 yards.
That's what I was about to say is when you looked at this running back room, it was Nate Frazier and Dwight Phillips are going to be your game breakers, and then Chauncey's just going to be the guy that can muscle you through 5 yards, 6 yards, pick you up positives every single time, and he showed the ability to be really explosive in the run game in this one, so that's a massive takeaway from his point. He had a fantastic game. I think he averaged nearly 9 yards per carry in this one.
All right, now we got to talk about the gut-wrenching. The 4th down. The 3rd and 4 and the 4th down. I want you boys' thoughts. I said Sunday that, first of all, kick the field goal. I'd rather trust the defense with the game tied than trust the defense being down 3. And you were only bargaining for like 17, 18 yards of field position. So that was my thing. The other thing is, if we know that's going to be the process, if we know on 3rd and 4 that if we come up short, we're going for it on a short yardage situation with an automatic run, then probably need to switch the personnel on 3rd down. If we know that's going to be the process, even though I know the right tackle busted an assignment, but the right tackle is also a true freshman. So that has to play into the criticism with this, right? The fact that you guys decided that our process is we're going to play super fast. Well, Coach, what happens if they get lined up and our freshman right tackle is confused? You know, that kind of stuff. That's available for criticism there. Yes, we want our guys to execute, but we put our young player in a situation where maybe things were moving a little too hectic for him.
So I didn't hate the decision. I hated the process of the decision. I'm fine with going for it on fourth down there. I have no issue with that. You take the lead right there. There's a really good chance that decides the game because their defense was rolling at that point. There was good reason to trust them. But first of all, I thought Gunnar had the first down on third down. I thought it was going to be reviewed. I thought partially, and the Kirby kind of goes against this, but I thought personally because you went so quick, that probably hindered that play potentially being reviewed. But nonetheless, it was 4th and 1. I would just rather I would rather have different personnel in on third down if you know you're going for it on fourth down. I love Cash Jones. He's done some great things for Georgia, but that just doesn't need to be the guy toting the rock for you on a 4th and short when Josh McCray has been running through bodies all day long, when Chauncey Bowens has been running through guys all day long. Like, you just have better options in that scenario. So, like, even if Juan Gasson doesn't do his job, there might be a good chance that Chauncey stays on his feet or Josh McCray is able to fall forward for a yard and pick up the first down. Like, I just didn't love the process of the decision, but I did like the decision.
Yeah, I think that we oftentimes, and it's unfortunate when you're a head coach in college football because every decision you make is judged by the results. And the reality is that if that play goes for a first down or a touchdown or like it was drawn up, no one's criticizing Kirby Smart. And we'll even do the devil's advocate of, let's say that Kirby Smart says, you know what, let's kick the field goal here, let's go for the tie, let's do that. And the game plays out exactly how it was playing out. Alabama's got the ball with a minute left. They drive down the field, kick a game-winning field goal. We're sitting here today saying Kirby Smart lost that game because he was conservative, because he didn't go for the fourth down conversion when, by the way, they're perfect on fourth down conversions all year up to that point. So the reality of it is that the results are being judged, which is unfortunate. I don't think they should be. I agree, though. It's the process that needs to be criticized here. It's the fact that we put ourselves in a situation where we set up freshman to offensive linemen for fair. And I understand that when you're a starter, you're a starter. It doesn't matter if you're a freshman or a senior. We're going to treat you as such. We put a running back that might not necessarily be a third down, break the tackle, get a first down type of running back. We put our quarterback in a situation to where whether or not it's a direct handoff to him, it was not. I felt like Josh McCray all night had been falling for 2 yards. I felt like Alabama in the entire game couldn't really stop you from at least getting 1 yard running the football. I didn't personally remember a inside run between the tackles that resulted in anything less than 1 yard. So to say that we need to rush up our operation and speed things up for us because we thought that we could get them, spot the ball and line up and run the play, in my opinion. That's my opinion. That's where I think that the process was flawed in that.
Couple things. Kirby did say today during his press conference that the review operation has been tailored to such where they have the decision to review it or not within the first several seconds because so many teams are playing with pace.
Yeah, and if that's true, then I have a big issue with that play not being reviewed. Why is that play not being reviewed? It's one of the biggest plays in that game. Why are we not taking a look at that? That would be my issue then at that point.
Why aren't we blowing it?
Why are we not taking an extra look at that one?
And getting another look. I agree with you.
And
I thought sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying, going back to that, he mentioned it. You tried to do that earlier and you got stopped to the point where it kind of took away a touchdown off the board for you. What'd they do the next play immediately after? Still got that touchdown from Josh McCray. So the idea that we had to worry about getting our feet set and letting them put in the players and personnel that they wanted, I feel like is somewhat irrelevant.
I thought the biggest play call I have an issue with is the 3rd and 9 bubble screen that gets absolutely obliterated. At that point in the football game, Gunnar had just got done making 2 of his better throws. I felt like one of them to Zachariah Branch. My memory serves me correct. Is my sequencing correct on this? The last drive that Georgia had, he fits that ball into Zachariah Branch, right?
Correct.
And then it ends with a 3rd and 9 call, and then you punt on 4th and 11.
Correct.
All right. So I understand the decision to punt on 4th and 9. The play call on 3rd and 9 was the one that I have a problem with. We've got to get a real passing concept there called and thrown into beyond the sticks, in my opinion. That was my only real criticism because, again, I am a process over results person, by the way. I believe in that. Like, I'm not I don't just say that because Kirby says it. Like, everything in my life says that. Like, we work hard and eventually the results will show up, right? The work is linear, the results are not. It's right here on the board behind my head. So I believe in process over results. I just didn't like the process on 3rd and 9, personally.
Yeah, I get it too. I mean, you're almost at the midfield at that point as well. So
yeah, we gotta get yardage. Like, we can't put something in. We got to be able to go for it on 4th down. Throwing it behind the line of scrimmage opens us up to a negative play. So there's a lot there that, is worth criticizing. Let's talk about positives, boys. What are some positives that you can take away from this football game? I think first and foremost, you played pretty bad. They played pretty good, and you lost by 3.
Yeah, I mean, and again,
not here for moral victories.
No, you're not in the moral victories.
Not here for moral victories.
Yeah, that's also been the frustrating part about these games is that seems to be the case of, like, last year, as great as Alabama started, like, you didn't play that great. They played really good, and you lost by 1 score. And then yet again this year, it's you didn't play that great. They played good, and you lose by 3 points. So it's a frustrating thing, like, but it's also a good thing of, like, this team, like, they just don't back down. They continue to find ways. They're going to continue to fight the entire time. And it doesn't sound like that this game is going to wear down on them by any means moving forward. I thought that Kirby Smart relayed that message in the press conference today, that this team is still fighting, and they're really pissed off about the weekend. They want to keep pushing forward. And so I think that's a big positive for you as well.
How about him saying that it hurt? Like, it hurt. He was glad it hurt him.
Yeah.
He says a lot of football teams out here losing nowadays and people don't care.
Oh, I mean, people definitely care about that loss. So there's that. I think one of the better takeaways that you can have is, and we've kind of felt this way leading up to this game, but it was definitely hammered home against Alabama. This is the best running game Georgia's had in a long time. I would argue it's better than they've had in their 2 national championship seasons. I don't think that Georgia's had a stable of running backs where there's 3 to 4 options where anytime they're in the game, it's like, oh boy, that player is in the game. And they've been all available at the same time, knock on wood. Mm-hmm. So that's a really good positive. And you have to feel great about the fact that, and again, I posted a stat on Twitter, that game was an anomaly. The last 10 matchups between Georgia and Alabama, whoever rushes the most wins that game. You cleared them in rushing. So
not only was it an anomaly for that matchup, but I think Kirby Smart is 56-4 when rushing for 250 yards or more, or 200 yards or more.
So yeah, I mean, it was an anomaly, and that's part of the reason, like J. Will said, what makes it so frustrating. But it's not like the reaction should be, this team sucks, we're never going to win another national title again, this is Clemson 2.0. Like, all of the things that the ridiculous and loud fan base is doing on Twitter is ridiculous. This is still a very good football team, and they cemented that in areas last Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about it. They talked all offseason about being able to run the ball and stop the run. We're going to run the ball, and we're going to stop the run. They did exactly that in that football game. Now, you came up short in so many other areas. That's why you lost. But your mission this offseason was to get better at those 2 things. And you can do those things. It's about getting everything else in your department or repertoire to improve. There's no doubt about that. I think you're going to continue to get better. You got a young football team. But that's also a negative for me. You're a young football team. Like, you're really, really young. Listen, I'll just walk through it. I got this saved for later. But, I mean, guys, the right tackle busts an assignment on 4th and 1. That's a true freshman. A wide receiver drops a 65-yard touchdown. That's a true freshman. A defensive back gets a personal foul late in the football game to ice it. That's a sophomore. Running back fumbles to give them free points in your own end. That's a sophomore. Your quarterback's 5 starts into his career. Like, you're a really, 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 really young football team. I know you don't want to hear all these things right now. Like, all you want to know is misery and sulk, but the reality is you're going to have to go through these growing pains.
Yeah, and that was something that Kirby Smart talked about heading into this year. It's one thing that he said he was excited about was that his team was really young because he felt like he got to coach them. But I mean, that comes with this as well as growing pains. I mean, you're seeing it right now in front of your own eyes, and eventually, like in a game like that, sometimes it might just rear its ugly head, and it might play a role in why you lose a football game. But the good news of that is, to me at least, like watching this team play, there's no avenue other than this team is only going to get better down the stretch. And that's when you want this team to be its best. You want to peak later in the season. And when you have a young team like this, I think it's only going to happen that you'll end up peaking later in the year, that you'll be playing better football later in the year.
First half executions are obviously a problem. Starting with 3 and outs back to back while also giving up 9 consecutive third downs.
Are we doing good or bad takeaways?
This is negatives.
Okay.
I thought, did we move on to the negatives already?
No.
My bad. Go with positives. My bad. I'm moving ahead.
Another takeaway I had from this was that you have very, very big playmakers on the perimeter, like more so than you've ever had. We know how electric Zachariah Branch is with the ball in his hand. Colby Young after the catch is underrated as hell. I think it's taken 5 players consistently to take him down on screens.
By the way, all you folks wondering where the tight end usage has gone, he just hit on it. All their yak plays right now are going to Zach and Colby. Colby is the most tackle-defying guy, and Zachariah Branch is the most explosive with the ball in his hand. So, like, we got into this discussion with the Discord the other day. Everybody's like, where did our tight end usage go? First of all, the quarterback's turning down some tight ends right now that he probably shouldn't. There's some yardage left on tape. We just got done talking about that to start the show. But the reality is, guys, back in the day, Brock Bowers would get 12 targets because Brock Bowers is a unicorn. So, and I talked about this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but prior to Brock Bowers, okay, and prior to Darnell Washington, the usage at tight end at the University of Georgia for its entire history was about 25 to 35 receptions per season, unless the guy was a super freak like Orson Charles. Am I incorrect on this?
No, you're absolutely 100% right.
All right,
I think
so
Isaac Nana got a few more, but it wasn't much more
we
than
can't
that.
be out here being like, why aren't we using the tight ends like we used to when you used to have the best one of all time? So that's there.
Agreed. I think another takeaway that I had that was
Remind me, I got a
about-
thing to tell y'all about. I got people on alerts. I think somebody meant to tweet a burner tweet today and tweeted out their personal account.
Ooh, that's an off air, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I don't need to be talking about that.
The final takeaway I had that was good is, I don't know about you guys, but I felt like the offensive line play was much more stable in this game. It's always been really good in the rushing game, but the passing game itself, I didn't feel like Gunnar Stockton was under duress. I didn't feel like the right tackle position was a turnstile. I felt like they played pretty well.
Class, I got to stop the show. Somebody in the chat said, are you serious, Ben Watson? Ben Watson, career high in receptions, 31 receptions for 341 yards. I love Ben Watson. Ben Watson, friend of the show, great pro. Was not used like a super freak.
We're also referring to an offensive that was 20 years ago at this point. Like, things have changed, guys.
For sure. So I don't want to be like calling out random comments, but again, pretty based comment. Historically speaking, the tight ends at Georgia, 25 to 30 receptions a year for about 345 yards. That's just what they are until the unicorn arrived, and then the unicorn got damn near a rack.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a unicorn.
Even in 2020, Darnell Washington wasn't featured that heavily in the passing game. So you're absolutely right. That's where the tight end usage is going. Mm-hmm. That's all I had for the positives, by the way.
You got any?
I think I kind of went through all mine. I agree with
I
you on
got
the
individual
offensive line.
positives.
Oh, yeah. Let's hear those.
Both 33s had career games.
Yep.
Chauncey and Q. Q Johnson played great on Saturday night. CJ Allen had a career football game. I feel like that's the best CJ Allen has played in his entire career. And you could tell he left it all on the field. I don't think there was a more emotional football player afterwards than CJ. Damn shame on them for making him have to go speak to the media, in my opinion. Like, that dude was gutted after that football game. And of all people, I don't think he had to go speak for that defense. So that's my opinion. But hey, it is what it is. You're the leader of the football program. You're the face, so you got to go do it when we lose. That is what it is. Zachariah Branch will always be on this list. I thought for 2 weeks in a row, Jordan Hall has played tremendous football.
Yeah, he has
tremendous
played some good football.
And do you know who, through 5 film studies, we're at 5 games, right?
Yeah.
Through 5 film studies, you know who we have not talked about once? 4 games.
4 games.
Through 4 games, you know who we have not talked about once?
In a good way?
Well, just haven't had to talk about him. He plays a position where if we're not talking about you, you must be balling.
Xavier McLeod.
Monroe Freeling. Monroe Freeling has not been mentioned on our channel all year long. You know why? Because he's playing like a pro. He's playing professional football at left tackle right about now. So there's that. All right, let's move on to negatives. I already talked about it. You're young. First half execution is a problem, right? Starting 3 and out twice in a row. Now, people think it's play calling. I don't think it is. I think first play of the game, you leave a 15-yard chunk right there on tape. Gunner gets tricked by the defense. Third down should have been completed to Zachariah Branch. The second third down should have been completed to London Humphrey. So there's a lot there that's like, hey, we just need to get off to a hotter start. We need to execute a little bit better, 100% with regards to the starts. But defensively, get the hell up off the field. 9 of 9 was the opponent on third down to start that football game. That cannot happen, which leads me into an apology. Okay, now, Sunday, I came on the show fresh off of my in-person, feelings of this football game and hadn't watched the tape, hadn't gone back and watched the cut-ups of the TV copy, hadn't really contextualized what happened in that football game. And on Sunday, I came in here and was just like, it really wasn't like super crazy loud. And here's the deal. How could it have been, Brooksy? Like, Jesus, man. We go 3 and out offensively, 2 possessions in a row, and then they go 9 of 9 on third down to start the football game. They have 19 third downs total. The defense is on the field forever. And yeah, we lost energy. We got gassed out because how could we not? We were standing there screaming for 30 minutes. And yeah, 35 minutes into the affair, we were a little bit quiet because y'all couldn't get the hell up off the field. My apologies. 100% on me. I'm an idiot. Yeah.
Well, I'll even say, though, that was one of the loudest environments I've seen in San
to start, for sure.
I've been to probably 25 of the 33 in a row that they won. That's one of the loudest. At the loudest, it was one of the loudest. Tennessee was the most consistently loud. But at its best, that was a very, very loud environment. But like you said, you rattled off 9 straight third down conversions. It's hard to get up and scream and be loud at a consistent rate.
Yeah, no doubt. You can't keep the volume out that long. And the way that the game started, like you mentioned, defensively, like that just doesn't help you out. Now, there was opportunities to where that crowd would have gotten right back into it and the roof would have blown off the place, even though there isn't a roof over Sanford Stadium. But there were multiple opportunities where the crowd would have just went ballistic.
Can I say something to the operations department? Every other SEC school that I go to is cheating like hell with the on-field microphones and speakers over on the away bench, except for you. Every away stadium I go to, walking behind both benches, I have to do this because my ears are about to explode because they got microphones or speakers over there that are blaring decibel rates that you couldn't even believe. And at Georgia, it's not very much so the case. The one speaker is on the west end zone, east end zone, blowing back in to the open area or to the closed end of the stadium. West end zone blowing back into the east side of the end zone where it is encased. However, I think you can cheat like the rest of these folks.
Yeah, go ahead.
Texas cheats way worse than anybody I've ever been to. Texas's on-field speakers are ridiculous. They're basically pointed at the away bench. It's insane. For 4 quarters, you can't hear, and it doesn't matter. So, I think that needs to be tweaked just a tad bit. Cheat like everybody else is.
Yeah, I think my biggest negative takeaway from this game, and it's probably the one that scares me the most moving forward, is we've played 2 SEC schools now, and both of them have very clearly thought that they can throw the football on you all over the field and have, for the most part, done so with success to the point where they've kind of at the point adopted an offensive mentality of, you know what, we don't even really need to worry about running the football or making emphasis of that on our offense. Tennessee was able to do that, and Alabama was able to do it. Now, you could say that it's because they can't run the football.
Wow.
Both offenses obviously seem very comfortable throwing the football against Georgia.
Where would we rank Tennessee and Alabama with regards to the ability to throw the ball?
And again, you're absolutely right.
Those are top 5 passing offenses.
That's two of the better offensive minds in the sport, in the country, in the SEC. I get it. It's definitely, you had a tough pool going back to back with those 2 offenses, but it doesn't make you feel good. And there's still, Ole Miss on this schedule. There's still teams that can throw the football that you're going to have to win.
I think the best thing outside of, there was obviously the drop pass from Ryan Williams, but the secondary has definitely been a concern, but you did a better job of at least trying to protect explosives. You made them work down the field at least to get those touchdowns. So that maybe was a positive, but I mean, they're definitely picking on you. They're finding ways to get you.
For the 900th time, y'all were getting home. Pressure was not a problem. Now, do you need an edge rusher that can get home in 2.5 seconds? Yeah. You need a twitchy rusher. You need somebody other than Chris Cole to figure out how to beat tackles clean as can be and get home right now. But that kid was getting rid of the football as fast as humanly possible. He was playing so far ahead of schedule that he deserves credit. Not sitting in here going, he had all day to throw. No, the hell he did not. Go watch the film. For the 900th time. I feel like I say that every time. But, dude, he wasn't camped back there all day. In fact, most of the times he had all the time in the world, he's spinning out, running 4-6 up out the pocket away from y'all, buying time on his own, earning the right to buy time on his own. And if you don't believe me, Go listen to your head coach's press conference today, because that dude said it. Oh, well, he's just defending it. No, it's facts. Go watch it. Sorry. It's so easy. It's so easy to sit there and go, we got one sack. Defensive line sucks. Watch it. Watch it.
Another negative way that I take away from
The
this
day
game.
I die, I'm going to have a heart attack on this show at 65. I'm going to have a heart attack on this show at 65 yelling at some fan because he wasn't watching ball. He was just looking at the box score going, we ain't good enough.
Is that how they sound?
To me, that's how all of them sound. To me, every fan I run into that's out here non-ball knowing, talking in the chat, that's how they sound to me. That's how they come into my brain.
Well, I think it's because PFF claims that Georgia only had one pressure, and I don't know how PFF describes pressures.
Look, ain't even about that. Yeah, like again, the sack rate, the pressure rate. It's hard to create pressures when the guys get rid of the ball in 2.5 seconds.
Agreed. I think another negative takeaway that I have from this game is that a lot of players on both sides of the ball took some self-esteem hits for sure. Nate Frazier obviously is one. He didn't even, I don't think he got back on the field after that, or at least didn't get another carry in that game. So there's going to have to be some confidence boosting for him. Talon Taylor, obviously we know what happened with there. I think Ellis Robinson probably had a few plays in that game that would have rattled him. There's going to be a lot of players that need a confidence boost and are going to need to believe in themselves once again, because you're going to need them throughout the season. This isn't the idea that you can just, hey, oh, sorry, you've messed up. We're benching you for the rest of the season now.
The first third down of the game, you literally run him off of his spot to the point where he has to scramble.
We're still doing that.
The second third down of the football game, he hits a tight end and has to rip up through Chris Cole's damn arm and complete a ball.
I think that, like, kind of going back to the negatives, it's that I thought you executed pretty well during this game for the most part, especially offensively. It's just kind of like it continues to be a thing in like these big, like it seems like in pivotal moments of games, there's just lack of execution at times. And I don't know what it is. I don't know how you solve that other than just getting more reps, getting more opportunities to answer the call when your number is called in those opportunities. And that goes back to into this being a young football team. Like as those guys get more reps, they're going to get more confident. They're going to be good players for you. They're talented. I just think that, I mean, that's a little bit of a concern. That was kind of a theme last year, but last year was like you weren't executing like play after play after play at times, where this year it seems like there's been some big moments where it seems like, just couldn't get the play to be made.
Yeah, and the reality of it is it's the moments that consistently have not been made. And my thought on this is you can talk all you want about the 4th and 1 decision. You can talk all you want about play X that didn't happen or this. I have a theory in football that one makes another irrelevant. When you play a competitive game against two really big powerhouse teams, there is almost always going to be bad moments in a game, whether what side you're on. The winning side has bad moments, the losing side has bad moments. The difference is, do you make up enough good moments to contradict those bad moments? Perfect example of this happened for Alabama. First drive of the game, Ryan Williams drops a walk-in touchdown. That is a bad moment. That is a miss for Alabama. But it was made irrelevant because they walked the ball down the field and still scored a touchdown. You can go back to Georgia in the last time they beat Alabama. You're holding on to a 1-point lead late in the 4th quarter. You fumble in your own red zone. Alabama scores an eventual touchdown. That is catastrophic. But what happens, it's made irrelevant because Stetson Bennett drives you down the field and ultimately takes the lead and you win that game. So you have to make the plays that make the bad ones irrelevant. Yes, you can point out the drop or the 4th down or the fumble. The reality of it is you had an opportunity to get an interception in the first 2 drives of that game and you didn't do it. Oh. You didn't make enough plays to make the bad moments irrelevant because you're not going to be able to avoid bad moments. If you play a squeaky clean operation and no one does anything wrong, you beat every team by 50 points. That's just how football works. So you have to continuously make the moments to make the bad ones irrelevant. And it sucks that it's been the same team for basically Kirby Smart's entire career that keeps teaching you this lesson. But I think that's basically what it is now. You have to make the plays to make the bad ones irrelevant.
Absolutely.
If we're going to continue the negative segment, there's definitely a mental edge here.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I wasn't on Alabama's sideline last year. I kind of stayed in the end zone. That their sideline was so packed. But when they come to Athens, is very available to be very close and intimate with that away team. All right, very much different than the home team. When you're at Georgia at Sanford Stadium on Saturdays, the home sideline is a boosters know who's who, right? And former players, and there's 175 people on the sideline. You can't even see what's going on, really. But you go on the away side, and it was very clear to me very early on in that football game, because you started the way you started, did Georgia, that Alabama thought they were a bunch of superheroes over there. Like, their level of confidence, you would have thought that Florida State game never existed. They were the most confident and uber prepared football team in their own minds than anything that could possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel the other way, like y'all. You know?
Yeah, and again, I think that
every time
that plays into a little bit of what maybe led to the fourth down situation, where you felt like you had to rush, you had to go, we had to get this going. Like, calm down, take a step back, and again, I'm not going to continuously criticize that process, but I do agree with what you're saying, where there is a mental edge, where this kind of mental gap just gets you.
Yeah, I think it's. And that's why I love that's why I said I was okay with the decision to go for it on fourth down, because I think that was a great decision, because if it works, then it's like, oh, what a mastermind decision that was to go for it on fourth down and get a touchdown, maybe even win the game. I think it is like, I don't know if it is a mental edge for the football team, but it's definitely a mental edge for the other team, like you're saying. Like, I don't know if
it is.
I think it's more coming from the Alabama side.
I think there's pressure in that building every year when Alabama's on the schedule.
There is, but here's my thing also. If Georgia felt mentally inferior, they're not coming back from 23 on the road against them.
You're right.
They haven't been getting blown out.
No, not recently. No.
They do believe in themselves, and we've seen it time and time again. I think the issue is that, like we've said, they consistently have the moment or two that swings the game in Alabama's favor. You can basically go back to every single Alabama-Georgia game under Kirby Smart, with the exception of the 2020 and 2021 SEC championship, where they ultimately ran away with it, where there is one or two moments where you're like, that ended up losing Georgia the game. And if that's the mental edge, yes, you're absolutely right. But I don't know if it's Georgia being scared of Alabama as much as it is Alabama just feeling like they are a superior team.
All right, let's talk about problems with the roster / the football team. Through 4 games, it's very clear gunner versus zone coverage is a thing. Mm-hmm. All right, it's a real thing, to the point where I said it earlier. If you're a defensive coordinator playing Georgia and you're out here playing man-to-man, I might go out there on Sunday and say they might need to fire you, or they might need to have a talk with you, or they might need to have some type of serious conversation with their defensive coordinator. The other serious problem right now on the roster, especially if the other quarterback's getting rid of the ball in 2.5 seconds, is apart from Chris Cole, who's also one of your best off-ball linebackers, and especially one of your most impactful coverage linebackers, you don't have a twitchy pass rusher that's getting home right now.
Nope.
You got a bunch of dudes that are big, physical, great run defenders, but they're not getting home in under 3 seconds. And that's a problem.
Do you think that, and I know he was brought up in the press conference today. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I don't know what this is about Georgia. Now, maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe it's so hard to practice there that getting caught up to speed. These summer enrollees don't have an opportunity to get on the field early in these football games. Right. McCray is almost like we got to now because Rod's not available just yet. Right? We don't have a big back. That's why we had to go get this guy. So we have to play him. I don't know. Like, they're playing Chris Jones before really. I mean, Elo got some snaps and some burn on Saturday, but it's not like serious like opportunities. Right. I don't think, not yet. So I think it takes a little while. And I don't know if that's a youth thing. I don't know what that is, because I mean, we see all these other programs that live and breathe off the portal. They almost have to play these guys early. Yeah. And they just take their growing pains. I don't think you're in those positions. I think you have to like wait until he's ready to go and practice, and then we play him. I hear that all the time from Kirby. You got to win in practice before you can win on Saturday for us. Yeah. So I think that's a little bit it. Also, I mean, we talked about it Sunday. Damon Wilson's got 3.5 sacks for Missouri right now, guys. Damon Wilson is getting home quickly at Missouri, and he should be on your roster.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that you couldn't do anything about it.
That's the era of college football you live in, where guys are going to go off and have success and look for personal gain. And look, I don't fault Damon Wilson for making that decision. He's making a lot more money than he probably would as at Georgia, and he's probably really improving his draft stock. So it's working out for him, and I'm not. That's not an ill will thing, but it does suck. That
it's not a criticism. It's a reality, right? It's an explanation. It's not a criticism. Georgia did nothing to make that kid go out. Missouri might have done something that Georgia might have done with Josh McCray. You know what I mean? Like it happens both ways. And this one guts you with regards to immediate opportunity and immediate depth at a position that now you're scrambling at, right? And that is a reality for this football team. The other thing that is a reality is that, guys, they are not making plays on the ball in the defensive backfield. You mentioned the KJ interception, but it's been 4 weeks now. They are not making plays when the ball is in the air, and that's a problem.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this off air more so than ever. It feels like this is the least turnover forcing defense that we've seen in a good while. Now, the season's still very young. They've played 2 offenses that were going to very much take care of the football, and they've played 2 other offenses that are at the top of their game in the SEC. So there's still time to right this ship, but the lack of ability to play the ball in the air and just force turnovers in general is alarming at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the opportunities have been there. Like the KJ, as we mentioned earlier, he had opportunity to get an interception early on in that football game. That could have certainly changed some things. You forced 2 interceptions against Tennessee and Joey Aguilar, so you got turnovers there. Just like in this game, it felt like you needed one of those to go your way, and it just ultimately never came. And I mean, I don't know what that can be attributed to. Like maybe it just isn't breaking your way right now. Ball isn't bouncing your way, but it certainly was something in that game to be a note of.
Anything else?
No, I mean, it sucks.
It doesn't feel good.
It's not fun.
Hey, expanded playoff. You're good.
I mean, that is a plus. This is not a season-ending loss. You have everything ahead of you, and there's a pretty good chance that
Thank God it's going to be 64 in a couple of years. You can just lose 4 of these games, and you can still make the playoff.
Hell, you can go 6-6.
Yeah.
I mean,
at that rate. Some individuals that I don't think we need to call these guys out. 16 and 86 got their souls taken on Saturday in the run game.
Yeah, but I mean,
that was the surprising thing to me. Like they had the physical advantage in this football game, offensively or defensively, versus you guys on the offense, other than at the line of scrimmage. But your skill guys got pushed around a good bit in this football game. Something that they were physical and energetic through the first 4 weeks of the season, and they kind of got it taken to them in that football game. So there's that. Got more film study coming up this week. Obviously, we're going to prepare you for Kentucky. Jonathan, anything up front that we need to know about Kentucky going into this week?
Good news for you is South Carolina, who has not been able to establish a run game this season, ran the ball really well against Kentucky.
Did they do it with the quarterback too?
It was a lot of Rasul Faison in the running back room.
Okay.
Obviously Lenoris had some rushing attempts in this game, but I wouldn't say it was like, oh, Lenoris ran for 150 yards. That was why. So they established a run. Kentucky's passing game obviously has not been where it is. I mean, they're already on their backup quarterback right now. They've already hopped off of Zach Calzada. Still a physical Kentucky team, I would say, like they always are under Mark Stoops, but I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that they're probably the worst team in the conference right now, and you get a home game against them. I take that back. Lenoris had 81 rushing yards on 14 attempts.
I will say this to close the show. I know that was gut-wrenching, okay? I know it's Alabama, too, so it hurts 10 times X, right? Or 10X. But there's this thing, and I've been doing this for a long time, at 7 years now, and I think I've only gone through 5 losses covering Georgia.
Wow.
Okay? It's been a good run. It's going to continue to be a good run. But here's what I kind of want to close the show with, and something that needs to stop. Okay? When you do lose, the amount of people that just throw their hands up and say, you know what? Call me when they're good again. Call me when they're playing to the standard, whatever I think the standard is. I'll show back up when they do. That stuff's got to go. Especially the further we get into this parity level of college football, because not every season is going to be 11-1 beating ass left and right. It's just not going to be that. So there's going to have to be some, dang, we lost, but I still love the boys. Like, we're going to show up and we're going to show out and we're going to love on these kids through all of it, because they do feel it. There's no way they don't. They feel that. They feel that 25% of the fan base checking out because we lost to Bama again. And I'm not just saying this as someone whose bills get paid by your engagement, but that's the reality as well. I mean, good Lord, the amount of people that are like, you know what, Brooksy, ain't watching the film study. And I'm not comparing you to other fan bases, but here's the reality. You know what our second most viewed film study is in the history of this network? Number one is
Manning.
Why does Arch Manning suck? Do you know what number 2 is?
I imagine the Alabama Vanderbilt.
Why did Alabama get shredded by Florida State this year? Florida State. Why did Alabama get shredded by Florida State? And that wasn't a hate watch. Those comments are filled with Alabama fans. Alabama fans showing up wondering why we ain't winning anymore. So I'm just saying, some of these programs, their fan base is engaged, locked every time, not just when Kirby Smart's 33-0 at home. Again, not fan blaming, just noticing the differences as this program continues to grow. Some of these fan bases show up 24/7, 365, no matter what. They don't tuck tail and run because they lost a tight football game. All right?
All right.
I feel like that was a little harsh, but sometimes you need tough love. Hey, appreciate you guys. Love you guys. I do. We'll see you tomorrow. See you.